disappointed in every one of you.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to offend you.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I kiss you on the mouth.
No, I'm not cool with that. Just, I'm sorry.
One more time.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I mean, I'm dealing with degenerate animals.
I'm disappointed in every one of you. Disappointed in every one of you.
All right, come on.
Honestly, I can't do it no more.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
Let me tell you why.
It's gonna be alright, Nicky. Go ahead. Shoot.
He just killed those fucking men.
What are you going to do about it, asshole?
Don't be afraid. Just an asshole.
What are you going to do about it, asshole? What are you going to do about it, asshole?
Welcome everybody to another BDA Boxing Podcast, broadcasting to you live from the true north. This is your friend Mr. BDA, flying solo for the day. And what a day it is! Sunday afternoon, nice and sunny outside. Just the way I like it. Not too hot right now, the weather here in Canada, not too cold either. It's just right. And I hope you guys are doing just right as well. Now, before we get down to the boxing talk, I want to remind you to please go on over to our Spreaker and iTunes page and rate us there. Give us a favorable rating, and you can download the episodes there as well if you do miss the live version whenever it airs. If you are new to the show, don't forget to like, subscribe. You won't regret it. Maybe you will. I don't know. Depends on the quality of each episode, I suppose. But yeah, like and subscribe. Why not? Be a good pal. Thank you guys for being on. Everybody in the chat room. What do we have in the chat room, by the way? I see it's pretty full. By the way, everybody's raving about Mother's Day. And somebody made a good point in the Google Hangout chat. Mother's Day, we're thanking them for doing their jobs? Come on. They're supposed to take care of you. They don't take care of you, they're not a good mother. We gotta thank them for that. I've never been thanked for being a good son. Let me tell you something, I'm the best son. That's right. Better than all of you. But do I get any thanks for it? No. Give a shout out to Apology Man, The Fight Scout, Shepherd of Sons, Louis Blanc, Tillery. Oh, is that Tillery or... Anyway. Box, Boks, Azzy, The Quags, Suban Kushwar, Subash Kunwar. Jeez, what am I saying? Boxing Spectrum, aka Gonzalo. Is that your new name, Gonzalo, for your channel? Gonzalo's doing videos, by the way. People wanted more Gonzalo, and so they will get it. Gonzalo is a man of the people, and he speaks for the people, just like I do. The great BDA. Louis Blanc also in there as well. Oh, sorry, it's the same Louis Blanc. Nicola Ferrari. I think Johnny Boy, I saw him in there. Virtuoso, Box 88. And many more to come, I am sure. As he says, lay down the crack. Crack is good. Crack lets you know you're still alive. By the way, I just noticed I'm gonna be sending the Hangout invites a little bit quicker here because we do have to go at about 6 p.m. So I don't wanna don't want to take too much time roaming and babbling like I always do. But don't worry, there will be some babbling. It's going to be good. Right now, I'm trying to set up the Hangout so that when people come in, we can see them there. There we go. Hold on a second. Boom. There it is. Now, I don't like the way it looks. It's a little too pale. I'm going to fill that motherfucker up. I'm going to lower the contrast a little bit. There we go. All right. Actually, now that's a little bit too dark. There we go. All right. So I wanted to say something. I didn't know if whether to address this or not, but Bucho and I decided there was a good time to address it now. For the Hangout panelists, remember, guys, we did the BDA Constitution. All right. Now, the Constitution, what does it say? Trying to find it. There we go. Here's the BDA Constitution for the panelists. Panelists must immediately remain quiet when hearing the voice of the host. So, you know, if you're talking and you hear either Bucho or myself saying something, please stop talking because we're probably trying to keep things together or it's something important. Panelists must mute their mics when not speaking, because otherwise we hear a bunch of background noise, which leads us to number 3. Panelists must make sure that no background noise is present when in the Hangouts. We don't want to hear microwaves and people fucking in the background, right? Number 4, panelists must make sure that their voice is loud and clear. We want to hear what you guys have to say, and the people in the chat room want to hear what you guys have to say. We're trying to entertain the people out there, but if we can't hear you properly, you know, so make sure that your microphone is of good quality and that it's well connected and that we don't hear a bunch of weird noises, hums, scratches, maybe ghost voices. I don't know. Panelists will be mindful of the amount of time that they speak. Speaking for 3 minutes non-stop unless telling a story will not be tolerated and will result in a warning. Now, by the way, this is Bucho wrote this and he's writing it as if, you know, he's a tyrant or something, but that's Bucho. You know, that's what he writes. Don't take it too seriously the way it's written, but do try to respect the fucking rules. And that way, because remember, guys, there's people listening to us on iTunes and on Spreaker. All they're doing is listening. And if they hear a bunch of scratches or something, they're not going to enjoy the show and they're probably not going to continue to listen to it. Also, yes, that's the thing. Harold Letterman passed away yesterday, actually. It's a shame. The guy was a staple of HBO boxing for a long time. And I venture to say, or I'm tempted to say rather, that he was probably the biggest boxing fan there could be. I think he was bigger than any of us combined. I mean, this motherfucker would go judge fights or watch fights, you know, just local fights. He knew local fighters. So he knew about Joe Smith Jr. before we knew about him, rather. So it's unfortunate that he's passed away. He was, you know, as a judge, you might not have agreed with every scorecard, but you can't deny that he had a good influence in boxing. He was a boxing fan, and it's a shame he passed away. So that's what people are saying also in the chat room. Sakib Rafik says, okay, Jim. Overhand says, okay, Jim as well. Pour out a cup for Harold, says Endgame. The Fat Guy says, Letterman was always biased towards New York fighters. Jesus, Fight Scott, can you... Oh, by the way, Fight Scott, you said you had Jacobs... He was in the chat room earlier. Fight Scott, you said you had Jacobs winning easily against Canelo. Listen, I enjoy your videos and I respect you, but I don't know. Sometimes it seems like you're trying too hard to stand out from the pack. I don't know. That's just me. Richard says, rest in peace to Bert Cooper as well. Yeah, Bert Cooper too. Apparently he had pancreatic cancer. That's a shame. He was always an entertaining fighter. Always, he put it all on the line. Overhand says, a fighter cannot be saved in any round, included the 12th and final round. Jim, fuck, how many times did we hear that? Luke Pearson says, you gotta say Jim in caps. Fight Scout says, yeah, I had him winning by a lot. It was a slap boxing match and Jacobs won. All right. Well, if we want to go with that, we'll go with that. So that's about it. Oh, also, one last thing, because I think we're gonna start talking about that fight, Julian Williams versus Hurd, which was probably the biggest and most interesting fight last night. But before we do that, I'm gonna start sending invites. I'm also gonna tell people, don't forget to like and subscribe. And also, it is a Sunday. Now, what that means, In the spirit of Julian Williams' victory, upset victory over the Giant, I want to read a little bit from Samuel 17, the tale of David and Goliath. And now the Philistines gathered their forces for war and assembled at Sokoh in Judah. They pitched camp at Ephes Damim between Sokoh and Azekah. Saul and the Israelites assembled and camped in the valley of Elah and drew up their battle line to meet the Philistines. A champion named Goliath, who was from Gath, came out of the Philistine camp. His height was 6 cubits and a span. Pretty tall, for those of you that don't know. He had a bronze helmet on his head and wore a coat of scale armor of bronze. Sort of like the getup I used to wear when I used to perform. Weighing 5,000 shekels. Now you know that impressed the Israelites more than the actual height of Goliath. And on his legs he wore bronze greaves and a bronze javelin was slung on his back. His spear shaft was like a weaver's rod and its iron point weighed 600 shekels. Again with the shekels. His shield bearer went ahead of him. And he asked, "Why do you come out and line up for battle? Am I not a Philistine? And are you not the servants of Saul? Choose a man and have him come down to me. If he's able to fight and kill me, we will become your subjects." Long story short, you know how this tale goes. David offered himself up against Goliath. Then he pretended like he was going to go down on Goliath. And then when Goliath wasn't expecting it, bam! Cheap shot. That's how the story goes. So that's a tribute to Julian Williams' victory over the modern day Goliath. And Julian, listen, how many? We didn't even fucking have picks. We didn't fight picks. We didn't make fight picks on the other show. We didn't have time. But I'm pretty sure that most of us would have picked Julian Williams. So I think we're all eating a little bit of crow right now. Hey man, we're having a little bit of dissent here in the chat room. Shepherd Son says, "Listen, children." Overhand says, "What the fuck is BDA talking about?" Ooh, corruption in boxing is on the line. I mean, in the chat. Hopefully he can come in. Luke Peterson says, "BDA is going renegade." LR Chiga, shout out to Chiga, says, 154 is the place for domestic US matchups. Everyone is losing to each other. BDA is talking World of Warcraft, says Amok. Thank you, BDA, says Box. Subash says, "What is BDA talking about?" Canelo says, "Has Stu retired from BDA?" Gypsy Box itself says, "BDA used to be a Jewish gigolo." Luke Peters says, "BDA ask aka Brando off Apocalypse Now." That's right. I'm going to start living in the jungle one of these days. Carnival says, "I picked Williams to beat Charlo." Yeah, fuck it. Well, we'll see, man. I'm going to call you out on that. Hold on a second. Ooh, sorry about that. Tried to sneeze away from the mic, but it picked it up anyway. Alright, so that was my whole thing about the Bible. And a little bit of a modern day David and Goliath story. So we're going to talk about the Williams decision, upset decision, and in a highly entertaining fight against Jarett Hurd. He dropped Hurd to secure a win, an upset win. And then there was also Berchelt versus Vargas, the rematch. Fight of the year candidate as well. Although no, I don't think it was as good as Williams versus Hurd, but nevertheless was pretty good. And then we also had Navarrete against Dogboe, another sensational fight. Just an all-around great night of fights from both the PBC and ESPN. Glad to see they're stepping it up with this type of matchups. All right, I see. Okay, so I'm going to start sending in some of the invites here. And hopefully we have a good night, or a good evening rather, of boxing discussion. Don't forget, guys, the Bible, the BDA Constitution. Respect the Constitution. All right. So where was I? All right. Now, while I send the invites, and we are going to be taking phone calls also, by the way. Can't forget the phone calls. Haha. And while I send the invites, I'm going to play a little music for you in the spirit of Sunday. There we go. All right. Sending an invite here. An invite there. David and Goliath. By the way, was Goliath confirmed a Nephilim? Or was he just a big, tall dude? Oh, by the way, I'm sending an invite to recognize. I don't know if he's gonna come on because I think he was gonna take out the moms or something. All right, sending out the invites. All right, so if I miss anybody with the invites, go ahead and tell me. All right, I see we got Johnny Boy and we got Stu on the line, so you know what that means.
I wasn't bad though.
I told you what's going to happen with the price. I told you he's going to be sleeping. I told you the ambulance is going to come. The oxygen mask is going to come out. I told you he's going to miss the main event. I told you all them things were going to happen.
All right, we got Stu and Johnny Boy on the line. Guys, thank you for being on.
What's up, fellas?
Good to have you on board. Everybody in the chat room, stay tuned because now we're going to be talking boxing and we are going to be talking about Jarett Hurd against Julian Williams. We're going to be talking about Dogboe versus Navarrete because the last episode, I tried getting you guys to talk about Berchelt versus Vargas. I tried my best to get you guys to talk about it. Nobody gave a fuck. And I understand why. The fight was entertaining, but it went the way we expected. So we didn't get much from that. So, gentlemen, thank you for being on. I'm pretty sure. Did you guys see the fights last night? Please tell me you did.
I watched them all, BDA, yeah.
All? Wow. Stu, how about you?
Yeah, I watched the Hurd fight. I've been away all weekend. Had a busy weekend. Some of us have actually got life, so we can't watch all the fights. But I managed to catch up on the Hurd and Williams fight, which was a good fight.
Yeah. I fucking had to change my grandpa's flowers around his grave and mulch over there and that kind of shit for Mother's Day. I went and did that for Mother's Day. Then I took my grandma to Outback and shit. I'm fucking beat. Oh, man.
All right. Try to watch it with the swearing there. It is a Sunday, Johnny. And, okay, by the way, Stu, there's a lot of background noise coming from your end. And
yeah?
Some echo. Some echo. By the way, we also
what
have...
I'll do, I'm going to shut the computer down, reset it, because I think that's what
All right, fantastic.
worked last time.
While you do that, we also got to introduce Precise, who's on the line.
Dependent upon how you interpret the data.
What's up with all the transvestites in Hollywood, though?
Because if you're a postmodernist and you don't have any standards, you're always going to keep moving the goalpost, and you're never going to stick to your own standards because you don't have any standards.
All right. Precise, are you there?
Yep. What's up, everybody?
All right, good. Good to have you on board, man. As always. Let's start with the fight, which was a highly entertaining fight, full of skills and thrills and chills, and nobody likes an upset more than boxing fans. Julian Williams taking her to school, I would say, by scores of 116-111, 115-112, and 115-112 again. He dropped Hurd in the second round. Hurd tried to come back, tried to put the pressure on. He tried, but Williams never faded, as I think most of us expected. First of all, I got to ask you guys, did you agree with the decision?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely, BDA. Let me just give my 2 cents real quick, because I know everybody's wants to talk. But regarding the Hurd and Williams card, Korobov got F'd again. Terrible decision on that. The Mexican kid on the second fight was from Racine, Wisconsin. That's where Woodchip Girl lived. And, I thought it was a great fight. I thought J-Rock clearly won that shit. I mean, I had it 8-4 plus the knockdown. I had it 116, 111 myself, so I was fine with it.
All right. Yeah. Now, all right, so you agree with the decision. Now, before we continue getting into more detail about this fight, corruption just came in.
Let me break it down for you fucking retards. I'm very happy I placed the large bet as well, just to prove that word is bond. But so who's standing tall now, you little motherfuckers? Let me break it down.
All right, corruption, are you there?
Yes. Yeah,
right. Hey, good to have you on board, man. Now, listen, people in the last YouTube podcast were asking in the comment section. They said, we want more corruption. They say we want more corruption in boxing. They're talking about you, the poster, not actual corruption in boxing. So, corruption in boxing, gracious enough to come here and give the people what they want. All right, guys, let's get right down to it then again. Who's next? All right, so let's go to Precise real quick.
Thanks
Precise.
to all those people. Respect to everybody in the chat.
That's right. Precise, did you agree with the decision?
Well, the right guy won. I only gave Hurd a couple rounds, though. I thought maybe he could have won 4, but I really just like the punches of J-Rock. I thought he was by far the more effective puncher.
Yeah, man. I mean, were you surprised when Williams dropped Hurd?
I was surprised all night. I was surprised he stood up to Hurd. Now, Hurd isn't the biggest puncher, but we kind of believed J-Rock to just be straight up chinny, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I guess, I mean, that whole thing with Charlo, that fight had a lot of controversy. I don't mean to get into that too much, but Charlo refused drug testing, basically, is what I'm talking about. Anyway, I mean, I thought I was seeing a young Bernard Hopkins in there before he bought them silk pajamas, man. I know you'll agree with me, BDA, because you were there.
What are you talking about? What?
Young Bernard Hopkins before he fought De La Hoya when he was at 160 and he was just running through bums, basically. But he was aggressive. He was slick on the inside. He was a brawler, a puncher, but like some of the technique that Julian Williams was employing on the inside, that reminded me of young Bernard Hopkins. I don't know if you saw that too. But
yeah, you're talking about when Hopkins actually used to throw more than one punch at a time, basically.
Well, yeah, when he was like running through people. Granted, they weren't that great of fighters, but he would like get inside and use his elbows to create space for them uppercuts. He would like shimmy them up a little bit with the shoulder, or step back and unload hooks and uppercuts. I thought the inside fighting was beautiful, and well, mostly just from Julian Williams. The footwork, the angles, I mean, he whooped his ass. I was shocked.
Yeah. I can I add something real quick, BDA?
Yes, sure.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good comparison, Precise, to young Bernard. But I mean, dude, listen. I gave it 8-4, but a couple of those rounds I gave Hurd were kind of swing rounds, and I was just going, okay, the judges probably, gave Hurd this or that or whatever. But I still, like I say, I had an 8-4 plus the knockdown. But Williams beat Hurd at his own game, okay? He smothered him and mauled. He smothered him, he mauled him, and he fucking threw him against the ropes and landed the better, more effective punches, bro. He beat him at his own game. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I was surprised at, first of all, by a lot of things. I mean, I gotta eat some crow here. I did not expect Williams to put this type of performance. I was surprised, like you guys said, that he was able to push him back, that he was able to outlast Hurd's pressure, that he had the stamina to keep going. The inside fighting, I didn't expect him to fight inside. Now, here's the thing. We'll get into the technique of it later on, but the reason why I thought Williams was going to lose this fight was because he had struggled in his fight against... Well, first of all, he went into a very tough fight against Ishii Smith. Now, I know Ishii Smith is not exactly... he always gives guys tough fights, but when you're struggling against Ishii Smith like that, then how good are you really? And also, Julian Williams had struggled a little bit against Nathaniel Gallimore, especially in the last round. Gallimore is a big junior middleweight, and he was pushing Williams back in the last round. So that was my basis on it. I was like, I don't know if he's going to be able to hand it Hurd's size. So, but it was a beautiful display. Like Precise said, that display of inside fighting, the angles, the switching, there was a point where he would always lift Hurd's left elbow and hit him with a right uppercut to the body. He would feint. He jabbed Hurd from the outside whenever he decided to take a little break. Because, Hurd, he puts on a lot of pressure. He just barges in. And Williams was showing you how you're supposed to jab a guy. Shotgun jab, right on the face. And you could feel Hurd was being stung by that jab. It was just a beautiful display of boxing. I want to get corruption. What did you think of the fight? And were you surprised, just like almost everybody else, about the result?
No, if you remember 2 shows ago, I did mention that Williams is, a live dog in the fight, a live wire, and I was shocked that the bookies all had him as a plus 600 largely based on his previous defeat, which I think was blown out of context. BDA, look, Julian Williams, he needed a humbling. I felt that defeat was essential because the level of arrogance he had when he was coming up, he'd effectively pissed off the entire division, bragging how good he was and that he was going to dominate the division. So pretty much everybody was rooting against him. So I felt he needed a defeat and try and resurrect his career. You had a different sort of mentality. So he did that. But the Gallimore fight, it was a litmus test because, number one, the Jamaican was a heavy-handed fighter. And number two, it was a good inside fight. And Williams gave him an ass whooping on the inside. Now, in my prediction video, I said that Julian Williams will beat Jarett Hurd if he fights him on the inside. And that's exactly what he did. Had Hurd walked him down to fire the longer punches and then taken him to the inside on the second half of the fight, he would have won. But Hurd lost the fight because he took too much punishment up front because of his defense. His left hand was too low. He was on a sideways on profile, which is fine. You're trying to minimize your angle for body shots. But when you're not even looking at the punches, so his head is at a 90 degrees. So when you're fighting on the inside, you're better off being, I think you're actually better off being square as opposed to being on the sideways on profile. Because you need less torque on your punches and you can use two hands almost simultaneously. So Williams' shots were more compact because he was at the right angle, whereas Hurd, not even looking at the punches, he's headed at the side and he wasn't moving his head. So Williams was able to hurt him with that equilibrium shot. So that's why Hurd in the second half of the fight couldn't recover and pull back the deficit as he does in all fights, is because he took way too much clean flush punches first half of the fight. And William gave him an exhibition on fighting on the inside. So he definitely deserved to win the fight. 115, 112, I think, is a reasonable card.
Yeah, it reminds me of when Nate Campbell fought Juan the Baby Bull Diaz, who was a guy that would just come forward and throw a lot of shots. Not hard shots, but he could average about 100 punches per round. And Campbell decided, you know what, I'm going to fight him on the inside. I'm going to throw as many punches as he does. And I'm just going to fight his fight, beat him at his own game. And because if you let something, it's like Corruption says, if you let these guys gain momentum and you start backing up, that's what they want. Williams said, screw that. I'm going to take the punishment, but I'm going to give some back. And that was only possible if you could throw like more compact shots, which he did.
You know what, BDA? I was talking to Recognize this morning in the Hangouts or whatever. And look, man, like I say, to me, that was, as far as I'm concerned, that was fucking fight of the year up to this point, bro. But I tip my hat to both guys because Hurd didn't quit. He showed a lot of heart. He showed a lot of guts by taking the punishment that he did and made it to the final bell. So I tip my hat to both guys, man, to be honest with you.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. But that's the thing. I wanted to. And by the way, Gonzalo's on the Hangout as well, and Stu is back. He had to reset the computer. Guys, thank you for coming back on. I was just gonna say that Jarett Hurd. How much credit can we give him? Because I saw some people on the internet saying, "Oh man, Jarett Hurd, we gotta give him props too for showing heart." But you're the bigger guy, and you're walking forward, taking shots, just like he always does. How much credit can we give him?
Well, that's what I said. That's what I said to Recognize. I says, he showed a lot of guts and determination and heart, and he took an ass whooping. But like in reality, he should be fighting at 168 or 175 or something. But nevertheless, I still he took a beating, and I tip my hat to him. Like I say.
I'll say this much: I'll give him more credit than Mayweather running away from little Pacquiao.
Exactly.
And
All right.
BDA, the weight differential wasn't that much. I think Julian Williams came in heavy as well, so physically he wasn't. So Hurd wasn't physically able to sort of, bully him around. I think that was a wise strategy.
Well, I guess
it was.
I guess my eyesight's going away with age because, I mean, just based on the eyesight and on the eye test, it looks like Jarett Hurd. Apparently, by the way, the rumor was that supposedly Jarett Hurd had to shed 36 pounds during the week. Now, I don't know how it's possible to shed and lose 36 pounds during 1 week or 5 days. I mean, that sounds impossible.
Must be the old Clenbuterol rule, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, unless he's going to the right pharmacist. All right, Stu, let's hear from you because we didn't get to hear from you before you logged back off. What did you think of the fight?
Yeah, it was a very good fight. I mean, I was very shocked with Jarett Williams. I wasn't expecting that for him. I mean, the way he went down against Charlo, I assumed that he was chinny and not very durable, shall we say. And I was expecting Hurd to get the stoppage. But, you know, Hurd showed at times when he fought that British bum, it was alarming how he was getting hit. And he was getting hurt as well by this British bum. And when I mean a British bum, I mean a British bum that I've not even heard of. And I'm from Britain.
And you've heard of them all.
And I know a British bum, mate. If there's a British bum around, still find him. Right. So, but this guy, I just don't, didn't know him. So it was alarming how he was getting tagged up by him, and he's just got no defense. This guy just doesn't move his head. His punches. I mean, the size of the guy, because he's obviously got the work rate. There's no doubt he's got the work rate, the engine. But a man this size should be getting the stoppages, and he's just not getting them. And he doesn't turn his punches. He throws arm punches. His technique's horrible when he's throwing his shots, and I think that's why he's not getting the weight behind the shots. There's a lot of arm punches, no feet and body involved, sort of thing. No turning, twisting the punches, just arm shots, and that's why he's not hurting people like he should be. Because let's be real, Jarett Williams got hurt badly against Charlo, and not even Charlo's not even a massive puncher, so this guy can be hurt. And Jarett Hurd, yet again, took major punishment he didn't need to take. Why don't this guy use his size? He should use his size and his range, but he doesn't. He comes in like with his chin in the air, gets in the pocket, and because he can't fight on the inside, he gets beat up on the inside, and that's where he likes to hang around for some reason. But he's not. He reminds me of Brandon Rios, a guy that weight bullied for so long, and the beatings are starting to take this toll now. He's starting to slow down a little bit, and they're starting to catch up on him because it's only so long you can weight bully and fight like that.
Well, it's interesting. I will say that I think Hurd has some good skills on the inside. What I liked about him last night was that he kept letting his hands go on the inside, just little taps here, taps there. He will slap with some of his shots, but then every once in a while he'll do the right thing, which is he'll slap, and then boom, one hard shot, then slap, then another one, which is essentially what you're supposed to do if you're just going to be an high volume fighter.
Yeah, I mean, the Dillian White's terrible when it comes to throwing punches technically, but when he gets that left hook right, it's a peach, isn't it? So they can, these are professional fighters. They can once in a while get it right, but that's not once in a while is not enough when you're a world championship boxing. He's got to be turning these punches. He's got to be planting his feet, and he's got to be trying to get these guys out of there because he's hitting them plenty of times and nothing's happening. It's like the Lara fight was the same. I mean, how many times did he hit Lara that night?
Yeah. By the way, hold on. There's going to be an alert coming in, so I don't want anybody to get interrupted by the alert. Should be appearing right. There we go. All right. Shout out to Apology Man who just donated, and he says Stu is back. Well, like he said, he had some fucking work or something. That's what he said. I don't know. It sounds to me like he just went on a drinking binge or something.
He had to go whack some people for the Cray brothers. That's what Bill was doing.
Cray brothers. All right.
Well, a lot of these guys that give me stick thought I'd done a run over. No, it's just it was a long weekend. I was actually around my girlfriend's getting some action while you was watching Triple G videos. So some of us,
we're gonna go back to that. Before we do go back to that, hold on a second. We got Cameron on the line. I'm going to play his intro, and then I want to get to Gonzalo because he hasn't spoken in a while, so what do we do?
Fuck, mate, it's life, man. You only live once. Make the most of life. Enjoy it. Because everybody's got their weird fetishes, man. And mine just happens to be eating fucking ass.
Type of language. All right, so shout out to Cameron for joining us. All right, Gonzalo, what did you make of this fight, and do you agree with what you've been hearing so far from the panelists? Gonzalo? I hope maybe he's sorting out his...
I'm on the right shot. Usually Gonzalo always talks.
All right, come on. Jeez,
Hello,
Cameron,
can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Cameron coming right out of the gate on that one.
I don't have any headphones.
Oh shit! So
Okay.
how can you hear
but
us?
it's quiet where I'm at, so there's no interruptions. I hope I'm coming in clearly.
All right, so Gonzalo, thank you for joining us, man. What do you think so far of what you've been hearing from the panelists, and do you think there's anything wrong or anything right with what we're saying?
About the fights?
That's right. Hurd Williams specifically.
Yeah, the writing was on the wall, with Hurd. I think he still put up a tremendous effort, but it was bound to happen because you just can't keep running through everybody with the poor defense like he has. I mean, he still has other qualities that makes it hard for a lot of fighters, like especially like the Tony Harrison and with Austin Trout and Islandi Lara, they were back foot fighters. So, he's a guy that walks you down with 2-3 steps and puts a lot of pressure because he's a big guy. But in this case, he couldn't budge the rock because this guy came prepared and he's got good skills. Even though he still tried, Hurd put up a good effort. This guy knew how to box him. And although, Hurd is bigger than everybody else, this guy was a decent size himself.
Yeah, it is true. Like Corruption said, he said that J-Rock was actually bigger. I will say he did look a little bit more muscular than previous fights. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's, again, just my eyesight playing tricks on me. But I did want to say something regarding Julian Williams, is that those short right hands on the inside, that was that's a most dangerous shot. First of all, because you don't see it coming, and it's so compact. I mean, you take a look also at, and also Gonzalo, there's a lot to say. I'm getting confused here, but you mentioned that the writing was on the wall for Jarett Hurd. I have to agree because he was always getting hit a lot. I mean, Trout was teeing off on him. Lara, whenever he let his hands go, was able to catch him clean. But none of, Lara's a one shot at a time guy. Williams came in here with both hands. Uppercuts, left hooks to the body, doubling up the left hook. I mean, it was just a beauty. I'm gonna download this fight or something, or try to get my hands on it to rewatch it over and over because it was an exhibition. It really, really was. And I know most of us didn't pick Williams. I mean, I know Corruption said he did. I think we all expected Williams to be teeing off on Hurd, but we didn't know if he was going to be able to do it all night long. Now, Cameron, you interviewed Julian Williams not that long ago on your channel. What was your prediction for this fight?
I've interviewed a few times. I didn't think Williams would win. I picked Hurd to win. Not because I just thought Julian Williams, for me, I thought he's looked good. I mean, I thought the Charlo performance, I thought he bounced back from it, but I didn't think he beat Hurd. I didn't think Hurd would be the one he would beat the title. But yeah, very impressed with Williams last night. I don't know. I feel like his game. I mean, he raised his game last night. He had to if he was going to beat Hurd. I think Hurd's time at 154 is over now. I think he moved up to 160. But Williams, for me, that win has kind of just opened the division wide up because a lot of people thought Hurd was the man at 154. He was too big and he'd take everyone out. And I'm very impressed with Williams last night.
Yeah, it was great, dude. How you doing, Cam? It's been a while, buddy.
Yeah, what's going on, man? Yeah, it's been a while since I've been on.
Yeah, bro. I made my girlfriend watch that fight last night. I was like, and she was like, "Holy shit, this is fucking awesome!" Like she knows what's going on.
Johnny, same shit here. Sorry, man, but like I usually watch fights with my wife, and she always falls asleep, man. Second, third round, I don't care how good the fight is, she's falling asleep. This fight, she was like glued to the fucking laptop, man. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, precise. She was like, "Holy shit, this is a fucking banger over here."
It was a good ass fight, man. Really good fight. And
it
kind of reminded me. That fight wasn't as competitive, but it really reminded me stylistically of Margarito Shane Mosley. And like Williams had two choices. I thought either box him or punch the dude, because that's how you fight a fighter. And he decided to do the shit that I wouldn't have expected him. I thought he would have been on the outside trying to outbox him, but he took it to him and whooped his ass.
Yeah, man. The fact that he still had juice at the end, in the 12th round, juice to move, juice to punch. I mean, it was just he came prepared. Because I don't, for anybody that's never boxed before, I don't think you realize how hard it is to fight a guy like Hurd, a bigger guy, a guy that's gonna eat your shots, that's gonna let his hands go. You have to be in shape as well. You have to be in fantastic shape to be able to throw something with mustard on it in order to keep the other guy off of you.
You just got to have a bit of accuracy, just some sort of accuracy. That's all you need, and a bit of pop to keep him off, to get his respect. That's all you need with Hurd, because he's not going to move his head. He's not going to duck shots. He's just not going to. He just walks forward and blocks punches with his face, basically. You know, and this guy, you can't fight like that for too long before you end up like Brandon Rios. Like I said, that's why I see the similarities there, where the way they fight, the sort of thing, just very exciting, but it's not very good for the health or the career. And I mean, it was a matter of time before someone caught up to Hurd. I mean, like I said, if Lara had any sort of pop, then Hurd wouldn't even have won that fight.
Yeah, well said.
Yeah.
Stuart. You can only take so many of them beatings before it takes its toll. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and like
Don't worry about Jack.
They're the sort of punches that Hurd's taken. They're the sort of punches that you end up like Riddick Bowe and people like that. You know, talking like
Terry Norris.
I'll worry about Jarett Hurd with his fight.
Yeah, you know.
Hold on.
Sorry, Stu.
Go on.
Yeah, go ahead, Cameron.
No, I was just about to say, I'll worry about Jarett. Oh, so have I got a delay? Because I
don't know, because you've said it 3 times. No, we've heard you.
Yeah, I might be delayed. I think I'm delayed. I'll come off and come back on again.
All right, yeah. But by the way, Stu, you made the point about Jarett Hurd. You're worried about the amount of shots he's been taking. What about Julian Williams? Because he's been in a couple of crackers himself against, like I said, against Gallimore, against Ishii Smith, against Charlo not so much, because I mean it was really just 2 huge shots that put him down. But and then in this fight he took quite a shellacking himself. So are we a little bit worried about him, or?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's just the same sort of thing. I just think because I obviously I see more of Hurd, I've noticed it more. But when now you're saying it, then yeah, J Rock could probably have them problems himself. It's just not healthy to sit in the pocket and take bombs off a guy that's 180 pounds on the night.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, of course.
Can you?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can you guys hear me? Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you. Can you hear us, or?
Yeah, Yeah, I can hear you. I was going to say, I actually worry about Jarett Hurd with his fighting style moving up to 160 because he's going to move up for the weights. He's a massive guy. I've already said this, and when he's going to move up for these weights and he's taking shots, he's getting dropped and hurt by someone like J Rock, who's nowhere near his size. I'm not saying he's small, but as he move up to 160, 168, or wherever he goes, he's going to be fighting bigger guys with more power. And if he takes that amount of shots he does at 154, he's going to be in serious trouble.
Mm-hmm.
He's got to learn to avoid a jab at least. I mean, he's not even avoiding jabs. He's just sitting there, just getting punched in the face, and it's all right fighting like that. If you got like monster punching power yourself, you can afford to take a few shots to let your own go, sort of thing. But if you're letting yours go and not much is happening, yet you're getting tagged up yourself and you're getting like hit with big shots, and what's the point? I mean. This guy fights small as well. Look at the size of him. Yeah, he fights small.
Yeah.
He's got to be. If I was Hurd, I don't care, mate. At this stage of my career, if I was Hurd, I'd be fighting on the back foot, using my range, off the jab, fucking trying to avoid as much punishment as I can. Trying to nick a few fights just to get a bit of because, like I said, another 2 or 3 or 4 fights like that, mate. Then
yeah. You know what I think would be a good scrap, bro, down the line. Maybe I know different networks and what have you, but I wouldn't mind seeing Hurd and Danny Jacobs. I think that'd be a good scrap.
I think Hurd would get seriously hurt in that fight.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think Jacobs
would ironed out.
Probably, but
it would make for a good fight. You're saying?
Yeah. I think it would be a good little scrap down the line. Yeah.
I think Jacobs on another level. In terms of
I do too. I think he beats him, but about the same size, about 6'1",
Well,
I mean, it'd be a fan-friendly fight. I know what Johnny's saying.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying, Cam. It'd be an entertaining fight while it lasted. Yeah.
Well, now here's the thing. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about what's next for Julian Williams, because I mean, I know he just won last night, but we do have to talk about where does he go from here. Apparently, the plan from the PBC is to have the winner of Jermell Charlo and Tony Harrison, that rematch, they would face Julian Williams. Now, people in the chat room are saying that Jermell Charlo and his brother, if they stepped in there against Julian Williams again, they would both beat him. What do you guys think? Is this a styles make fights type of thing?
I don't know about that.
I think it bears mentioning that Julian Williams got with Snack.
Oh,
I'm not saying anything, that he's doing shit that's illegal or anything like that. However, he's changed. I think the reason why his chin looked so much better than ever in the past, and his stamina, well, obviously you got to give credit to his strength and conditioning and steroid suppliers, right? I mean,
well, allegedly.
Yeah, but you got to take into account that Hurd's actually been doing VADA for 3 months. No coincidence that the performances have dropped, sort of thing. He didn't look the same sort of guy. I mean, he's still a good performance. Well, it wasn't a good performance, but he put in a good fight. He came to win, didn't he? But he's been doing VADA for 3 months now, I believe. So maybe that could be one of the reasons why he's not as strong.
He just started doing VADA? Is that the story?
Yeah, apparently he's been doing it for 3 months. Yeah.
Well, even then,
before that.
Was that corruption?
Both of them were doing USADA testing before that.
Okay, USADA. Okay, that's good to know. See, I don't even keep up with these things. It's good to have you guys here.
I think J-Rock's a kind of a catalyst for drug testing and 365-day drug testing boxing. He's always been kind of a catalyst for that. Like Donaire, he spoke about it a lot, hasn't he?
Now,
that was the thing with in the Charlo fight. He was promoting drug testing, and Charlo was like, "Nah, we're not doing it." And then they were all salty and bitter after the fight, especially Breadman, his coach, was kind of insinuating stuff after the fight. I mean, people might want to say he was just salty, but they were literally begging for that drug test, and Charlo just had none of it.
I mean, if we'd gone back a few months ago, say 6 months ago, who would have thought that we'd be saying that J-Rock and Tony Harrison are probably the best guys at 154?
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing, really.
It shows you how shit the division is.
No, it just shows you how hyped these PBC fighters are. I mean, I've been saying it for ages now. These guys are hyped. They're made out to be a lot better fighters than they are. They're the mollycoddled, spoiled little brats that have had everything go their way. Never had to dig deep. Never had to go into deep waters. Just had everything put on a plate. And as soon as any sort of adversity comes their way, their fucking arse falls out of their trousers. And they get
especially the Charlos.
All right, hold on a second.
Yeah, I mean,
hold on a second.
Most of them. I mean, Al's been taking some L's lately, man. Al's been taking some L's.
Before we talk about that, I must say, apology. We got you an intro. Remember that? We got you an intro, and you just come in here talking. Should we play your intro, or you want to just come in with your cock out?
No.
You know what you're doing? You're raping the BDA show. You're spreading its ass cheeks, and you're just going in the raw. All right? You're supposed to wait for your goddamn fucking intro. All right, here we go.
That's my weekend job.
Bake of the devil, and it shall appear. She just wanted the drama and you two to fight over her. That's what women do. Your punishment must be masturbate. all of you.
Bitches are stupid. I treat them like shit. That's how you get one to eat a dick. Never be sweet to a bitch.
All right, we got Apology. Now we're ready to talk. Apology, you just ran 10K, you said, right? Today?
Yeah.
That's why you're all pumped up. You got the fucking endorphins and adrenaline running.
Exactly.
All right, so how did you see the fight?
A few words.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Apology doesn't mince words. I should follow his example. Listen, Apology, what did you make of the fight, man? And who do you want to see Williams fight next? Would you rather see a rematch between him and Hurd, or do you want to see him against the winner of Charlo Harrison? I mean, how do you see this?
Well, first of all, it was a great fight. I mean, both guys, came to fight, came forward, and J-Rock just had the better boxing skills, the better game plan. Like Hurd, he's very flawed. As good a sign fight as he is, he's very flawed. So J-Rock exposed his weaknesses and I was surprised he won. I was also surprised his chin held up because he was getting hit by some shots. I
Yeah,
was
me
like,
too.
damn.
Me too.
Yeah, I was like, damn, that's good. As for the winner, I would like to see him fight. I don't mind a rematch because it was a good fight, but not right away. Let him fight the winner of Harrison and Charlo first. And also one more thing, fuck Aleem and fuck the commission. Korboff won.
Yeah, we're gonna get to.
Thank you, apology.
Yeah, we're gonna get to
They
that.
robbed Korobov again. Oh no, they didn't do that.
No, Stu, this is what happened, right? So the judges gave it to Korboff, right, by majority decision.
Yeah.
Then after the break, they had a break. The commentators came back and said the commission changed it to a draw.
Well,
They changed it to a draw.
And you wonder why? You lot wonder why I get fucking angry, and and I've had enough of this sport. I mean, it's fucking disgusting. Go on, Johnny.
Stu, and this is the thing, bro. It shouldn't have even been a majority draw. Korobov swept the first 7 rounds in a 10-rounder, bro. It shouldn't even a bit. Yeah.
Just there's no other sport that'd be allowed to happen. Surely, I mean, I just don't. I mean, it's like you get the judges there to do a job, right? So they've done their job. Whether they're right or wrong, we've seen a lot of fucking bad decisions in boxing over the years. Never been overturned. But yet, when it's one of these PBC guys with Al and his little fucking minions that are taking backhanders, they've got to find a way to try and, change it around, cheat their way. It's just boxing is a disgusting sport, isn't it? It's just for the worst of the worst. I mean, let's be real. I'm not about the fighters now. I'm not even about the boxing fans, even though the boxing fans are the worst forms of human life. I'm not on about them. I'm on about the fact that these scummy fucking individuals that are allowed to make a living out of boxing, when you look at them, these fat, pathetic old men that look like they've never been in a fight in their life. The only thing they're fighting is their weight problems. And these are the guys that are making decisions and on boxers' careers as well, because like I said, we're in a society now where the zero goes and your career's at the fucking bottom of the pile again. You've got to build yourself up again just because you've lost one fight, and you got these fucking minions doing this, man. Disgusting, really is.
Yes, it is, Stu. I can send to that.
Does anyone know if that's even legal?
It has happened before. I don't remember what the fight was, but I remember this happening before. Decision is announced, and then they go like, "Oh no, one of the judges got their math wrong." So
Yeah, that happened so many times. Like that happened with Pacquiao. Marquez won, and they didn't overturn that.
Yeah, there you go.
It happened with Felix Diaz, didn't it? Diaz was fighting the PBC kid. I can't remember who the fuck it was.
Peterson.
Vasquez.
Sammy something.
Oh yeah, Sammy Vasquez.
I think it was that one. Yeah, I think there was it was announced wrong, and then it was some sort of retrospective correction later on.
I remember.
There's one fight I can't remember myself, but yeah.
I remember Castillo versus Stevie Johnson, the second fight. They scored a draw, I think, or for Stevie Johnson, and then in the dressing room, they had to go into the dressing room and tell him that the decision actually had gone to Jose Luis Castillo. So Stevie Johnson graciously gave the belt back himself to Castillo. But yeah, those type of things happen, man.
Mate, Korobov, I mean, he has become a real patsy in boxing. I mean, he's Al Heyman's patsy. I mean, it's his own fault for signing for fights with Al Heyman. He's brought this on himself. If he wants to be bent over and fucked up the arse, excuse my French, or the children that are listening. If he wants to do that, then that's on him. I mean, did he honestly expect anything different? I mean, Tyson Fury got robbed. What happened? He got out of there. He thought, fuck that, I'm not going there to get robbed again. Sign with ESPN. Let Wilder come to me. I know Korobov's not got that sort of clout, but Matt Korobov should have ran for the hills after that last fight and maybe signed with Eddie Hearn, done something with him. Do you know what I mean?
You could sign with Ryabinski or something like that.
Anyone but Al.
Wasn't he with Top Rank before when he was fighting on HBO?
Yeah, Top Rank released him. He's 36 years old. He ain't got no options, man. This is the best that he can get.
Can't he go back to Russia and be a boxing coach? They treat the boxing coaches well over there, I think.
No, he's
not with all that slapping he's doing. Sorry, bro. He needs to learn how to fucking punch before he tries to teach anybody how to do it.
Yeah, that's true. When it comes to punching, he could tighten those shots up a little bit. But I mean, he's got beautiful footwork, defense. But yeah, at 36 years old,
Oh,
man,
he's an amazing B-level fighter, bro. He's like amazing B-level. But it's I agree, like 100%. Great footwork, like great ring generalship awareness. He knows when to throw the right punch, yada yada yada. He just doesn't know how to punch, and that's why he's losing. Because he should be knocking these dudes out.
Yeah, that's true, man. And
that's true.
The other thing is,
talking about now? Who are we talking about now?
Kobrov.
All right.
Yeah, we're
it's
still
an
talking
amateur
about it.
style, which is why he was successful at amateurs. Not really suited for the professional game.
Yeah. See, a lot of amateurs get stuck in that style, and that's why a lot of them, some of them struggle to adapt to the pro game. Where Lomachenko, he even got stuck in that sort of style when he fought Salido. He soon realised he had to change it up, and he did for the better. But I think Korobov, I agree with corruption. Some fights, so many amateur fights, get stuck in a certain way of fighting. It's very hard for them to change up in the pros.
Right. And the other thing is for Kobrov, and it's not going to end well for him, whoever they put him up against, is the stamina. This is the second. I understand against Charlo, he gassed out because he was preparing for an 8th rounder, but in this one he also gassed out by the 8th round or something. So, or maybe even earlier. So, I mean, he's old. He doesn't have the judges in his pocket, and he's got bad stamina at this point. So, and I don't see things ending well for him in his next couple of fights. But that's the thing is, we were talking about Charlo, and I don't know if you guys been keeping up with the whole Charlo Harrison. All right, yeah, please mute your mics. Charlo Harrison, they were jawing at each other, talking about how they're gonna hurt each other. Now apparently they hate each other. Charlo seems like a very thin-skinned individual, and Bucho showed me this clip from with the press conference between. And by the way, if I say Jamal, I'm just gonna call him Charlo because I remember I can't differentiate the two Charlos. 154-pound one who's gonna be fighting Harrison. And there was a clip from the press conference where he's sitting around with the reporters at the round table, and all of a sudden Leonard Ellerby comes in, and he says, "Well, actually, you know what? Let me play it for you. I'm just trying to find it here." But it was just a weird way of telling him how to behave. Let me see if I can find it here. Shit, I can't find it. Anyway, as a brief synopsis, he told Charlo, keep doing your thing, keep talking that shit, because you're a shit talker, and you gotta be confident, and you don't let nobody get in front of your confidence. And I'm thinking, is that really the best way to get a fighter to present himself as a shit talker?
Well, Jamal Charlo's corny as fuck. Harrison's right.
Exactly.
He's a cornball, man.
He's a fucking cornball.
He's corny as fuck, man. When I changed my mind about Charlo, I never really liked the guy anyway. But when he was sitting there giving the big one about Danny Jacobs. As soon as Danny Jacobs walked by him, his fucking ass completely fell out of his train. He looked shook, man. So I knew that guy weren't about that talk anyway. So he might as well just sit there in the corner and say nothing. Because I don't believe
Yeah, BDA. I heard that interview that you're talking about. It was awkward. Leonard Ellerby's a weirdo, and this guy, the Charlo, he's a puppet because he doesn't have his own personal identity. You know, he just pretty much agreed with the weird things that Ellerby was expressing, like keep talking your shit. I kind of didn't know what it was about, but it's like basically like you said, he was just telling him to be more confident. But it was just weird, and this guy's just agreeing, like his eyes look lost, but he's just moving his head, like I'm just gonna do anything you tell me to do.
Gonzalo, bro. It's what Charlo tries to put on this Academy Award-winning performance over here. It's a facade, bro. It's just like it's a fucking Oscar Award-winning performance, bro. He's running up against Daniel Day-Lewis and De Niro for Best Actor. It's a facade. It's just like when Wilder's running around talking about how he wants to kill somebody in the ring. I bet you if he put somebody in a coma, he'd be in and out of church 7 days out of the week. Get the fuck out of here. It's a facade, bro. It's an acting lesson. That's all it is, bro.
I know you're in trouble when Gonzalo calls you a weirdo.
Precisely with the big guns.
Did you see Charlo? He was getting really wound up. His fucking lip was quivering. It reminded me of Low Place when Stevenson got put in a coma. The way his lip was quivering.
Oh, now come on. It's a Sunday. On a Sunday morning, and you guys are doing this. But yeah, I mean, he like I agree with Gonzalo. There's something now. I know Precise who was it, Precise or Jimmy, that said that these guys are probably on something. And I will say, when you're getting your purse stolen by a bunch of transvestites in a nightclub, it means you don't have spatial awareness, and either you're a dummy or you're on something, and it's hindering your instincts. But I will say that Charlo, he has to. Maybe it will serve him well to be a little bit more aggressive, because in the first Harrison fight, he respected him too much. So maybe this is good for him. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well,
Who
anyway.
the fuck walks into a club with like a Louis Vuitton bag full of jewelry?
Well, the
guy wants to show off. Like, look at me, look how much money I made. Yeah, he got robbed.
Hey,
got robbed by a 17-year-old girl or something.
The thing is, though, the guy's on like 150 grand a fight. Yeah, he's busting Floyd May with the chains around his neck, man. This guy.
Yeah.
When you see guys like that, you just know they're fucking clowns, and he's going to end up. I don't wish bad on Charlo. I hope he does well with his career. I don't want to see him fail, but when boxing's over for him, I just don't see any future for him. He's going to blow his money very. He's going to blow his money very quickly and
End up like Bruno.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
You know,
mind you, the way society is, Bruno would probably get a TV presenting job. The way society is these days.
Or his own show.
They like wankers like him.
You all know what it is.
Sorry, BDA.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, yeah, man. You know, the club rats will do that to you, bro. You take them home, and then they'll call their pimp up, and you'll get fucking robbed, bro. That's how the cookie
But Johnny,
crumbles.
I think it was at the club itself. I think some guy spotted him and then told one of his girls to go over to distract him, and then another girl stole his bag. Was that the actual club?
Yeah, that's my mistake. I thought he was at some hotel room with a call girl or some shit like that.
No, I think there's even actual video of it.
But to be honest, I would have done exactly the same thing if I see somebody with a bag of jewelry. You got to try and steal it.
Oh, corruption!
Whoa.
I don't even wear my jewelry when I go out into town. Why am I going to spend?
Me neither.
Why am I going to get some little fucking thief take it off me when I'm fucking pissed up in the corner or something? Nah, fuck that, man. I leave my jewelry at home. And so for any grown ass man to take a bag of jewelry with him in a Louis Vuitton bag in a nightclub, I mean, it just doesn't get any more cringe than that for me. It doesn't.
That's just saying steal it, isn't it? It's just saying it.
Just saying, look at me, I'm a fucking arsehole. Come and steal my bag. That's what it might as well say.
Yeah, bro. I remember one time when I was about 18 or 19, I had this, when I was doing my street shit or whatever, but I had this nice fucking gold chain. It was like $1,200. It was a real nice chain. It was like 18 carats and shit. But I got it yapped off my neck when I was running around the fucking neighborhood one time, bro. I chased the fucker. He was too fast, though.
Huh. Yeah, well, the thing is, like, all it takes is a little scuffle. Like, I got a Gucci fucking watch. It was about $2,000, and I wore it going out. I got in a scuffle. It fucking came off my hand. Luckily, someone picked it up and gave it to me. But I couldn't. It took me about 3 years to get this fucking watch fixed. I couldn't find the right links for it and all sorts. And it's just, there's no point when you got nice jewelry like that. It's sentimental to you. You fucking keep it in your box or just wear it when you go for a meal with your missus. There's no point going out to nightclubs flashing jewelry. I just don't get that. Not in today's society.
Unless you're a woman or a decadent Roman emperor, you don't go outside with jewelry, because, like you guys are saying, it's more of a signal of, look how much money I've got. And like when Jacobs told Charlo, you're not even making M's yet. M standing for millions, you could see Charlo's disposition change, because he probably values money a lot. For him, telling people that he's got a lot of cash is probably one. All right, what's going on with the fucking background noise? And
chain snatching, jive ass, Monaco motherfuckers.
All right, listen. The point is this. Did you guys see also the video of? I forget which Charlo it was, but they were interviewing. Somebody was interviewing Julio Chavez. Okay, right? I think it was for the Golovkin-Jacobs fight, and they're backstage or something. And then all of a sudden, Charlo and his trainer come onto the camera, onto the frame, and the interviewer starts interviewing Chavez Jr. and Charlo's trainer, the one that looks not Ronnie Shields, the other one. I forget the guy's name.
Derek James.
Yeah, the one that trains Spence as well.
Derek James, yes.
Yeah, okay, that's Derek James. And while Chavez Jr. is talking, Derek James is eyeing him up and down. with like a strange face or something. He's not disgusted by Chavez Jr. He's like examining him as if he's a piece of steak or something. I'm thinking, all right, I had to shut the video off because I was creeped out. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. But let's go back to the Julian Williams thing, because I didn't know if he was gonna be able to stand up to Jarett Hurd, and evidently he was. That being said, the Charlos are more explosive than Jarett Hurd. They don't throw as many punches as he does, but they do pack a bit of a more crisp, snapping punches. So what do you think, guys? Do you think Julian Williams could beat this Charlo, the 154-pound one?
Yeah, because he proved. I mean, Jarett Hurd, he came to fight. He put up a good fight. Is this guy proved to use his skill along with the fact I was thinking the same thing. He came in very prepared. You know, with him doing all that snack, and it just something about him seemed confident. But no, he came to fight. Basically, he thwarted Hurd's effort, which was a good one. You know, so obviously, if he's got that strong mentality, and these guys have shown mental weakness already, you know, I believe, yeah, he's one of the best guys.
Yeah, but we still have to look at it like, I mean, this guy made Charlo look like a fucking Deontay Wilder puncher, sort of puncher, and he actually fooled the boxing world and to think this guy was a concussive puncher, and that's alarming for me. The way he went down against Charlo. But, you know, he showed that he can obviously hold some sort of shot against Hurd. But I'm not convinced Hurd hits that hard at all. I think Charlo hits him.
He doesn't. He's more of a wear you down fighter.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I agree with you. He's more explosive. He's more technical. So it's not about the size you are, or it's about the technique of the punch. And I just don't get the technique right, where Charlo probably a little bit better technically as well, a bit quicker, a bit more explosive. So that's probably why he did get the stoppage. But yeah, it's hard to say with Jarett. I mean, that division's looking pretty poor at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just I know Hurd doesn't punch the hardest, but he is a pressure guy, and I just like the way that Julian Williams was turning and throwing that uppercut.
Yeah. Effective. Yeah, you know what? And I laughed my ass off at everybody who had Hurd on their pound for pound list. I told you, bro, he's not a pound for pound type fighter. Based on what? Because he beat up a 40-year-old Lara.
I'll tell you what. It was the knockdown early on that took the starch out of his punches. It was the equilibrium shot. He didn't look the same after that. Despite the pressure he put on.
Yeah, because he took one on each side as well, didn't he?
Yeah, but that headshot where his head was on the side, I think that took the mustard out of his punches throughout the fight.
Yeah, he kept shaking his head. He never really recovered from that shot in the corner.
Yeah,
I reckon losing 36 pounds wouldn't have helped either. I mean, this guy seriously needs to have a look at himself and pick a division that he's going to be healthy in, because when you're weight draining yourself like that and you're taking that sort of punishment, then it's a matter of time before you become really fucking punch drunk. So he needs to move up to 160, get a bit more fluid around his fucking brain, and he'll probably feel a bit stronger there. But maybe the punches might be a bit better at 160 as well, because at the moment I just don't think 154 is going to be a good division for him. Not after that fight.
Can I, BDA? Hey,
can
BDA,
you what?
Can I switch gears real quick for something? I wanted to say something real quick.
Depends.
Huh?
It depends. What is it?
Oh, I was going to talk about Pacquiao and Thurman.
Oh, well, you know what? Let's save that for later, because we have to talk about Navarrete too. Navarrete stopping Dogboe in the 12th round. I haven't seen this fight. I've only seen clips. I couldn't watch it last night. I only caught the end. So what did you guys think? I didn't write down the predictions, so we're just gonna have to go off of memory. But what did you make of that fight?
I called this one. I believe I said 10th round stoppage, throwing in the towel. Maybe I said even the 12th.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Didn't you write them down? I'm pretty sure you wrote them down, BDA. Or was that Bicho?
Gonzalo is correct. I remember his prediction. He did say 10th round stoppage or something.
I don't know. I'll have to look it up.
I mentioned that I didn't even want to see it because the same thing was going to happen.
Yes,
I had a dream about it, and it's true. Exactly almost the way my imagination played out, that's what happened.
Yeah, Bucho wrote the prediction down, but I says Navarrete on point, so I was almost there. That's the only fight I missed last night. I watched the BBC card and I watched the Berchelt fight.
I mean, the Dogboe's another one we're talking about. Fighters taking a lot of punishment, and like Hurd, Dogboe's another one that seriously. As soon as I look at himself before he gets hurt, because this guy, I mean, Dogboe's problem is his size. He's got to find a way of getting inside without getting tagged up on the way in, and he doesn't move his head. He has got no body movement. He's got to find a way. And like Sean Porter, even if you've got to charge your opponent and then get inside, or like a Mike Tyson where he do body movement to get inside, but he's got to find some sort of way to get inside. You can't just walk forward in straight lines and expect to fucking win a fight when you're giving up so much height and range and power as well. So Dogboe, I mean, he's talking about moving up to 126. I mean, I think that's going to be worse for him. So, I don't know what to say.
He says he's going to be moving up to 126 now. The guy's like 5 feet.
He needs to drop down.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you guys. I mean, is this guy insane or what?
He needs to stop doing whatever he's doing. Do weights and stuff and drugs and just lean out and move back down.
I actually tipped Dogboe to do well. There's one thing I had a stinker with that one. I tipped him to do well, and since I've tipped him, he's just had a nightmare. I mean, he's been beat up twice badly by Navarrete. Is it the Mexican? Is he a Mexican?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, he's a good fighter, he is, but the size difference is there to see. And like I've explained, that Dogboe just doesn't know how to get inside. I mean, look how small he is. He can't fight at range because he just doesn't have the size. So he's got to find a way to win. He's got to do like Sean Porter. Sean Porter gives all these advantages away when it comes to physique, but he always finds a way to win because he gets inside, roughs you up, and he charges you. Whatever he has to do, he gets it. But Dogboe just doesn't have that boxing IQ. He just walked forward and on the end of big shots, and he was a mess again the other night, weren't he? I mean, he took a pounding in the first fight, so I haven't watched the second fight, but I can only imagine.
I don't think he recovered from the first fight. I think he should have took it like a tune-up or something, or took longer rest before you fought again.
Yeah,
it wasn't that. It's just stylistic nightmare plus his poor fundamentals. He hasn't addressed. Sorry, go on.
But corruption to me, even when he landed shots, he just didn't look the same at all.
He's a tough guy, but he's 5'2", Navarrete's 5'7", and every time Navarrete, he's a pressure fighter, but he would actually move his legs to where even when the shorter guy was trying to come in on him, he will still create separation to have the reach advantage, constantly on him. He wouldn't allow himself to get smothered, Navarrete. But then when Dogboe was going backwards towards the end of the round, Navarrete was pressuring him, the other way around. And so he just couldn't he couldn't gauge him. In other words, that distance was always a separation between the two.
Yeah.
To beat Dogboe
away from these big guys. It's got corruption.
To beat Isaac Dogboe is like beating Chris Eubank Jr. If you've got a world-class jab against a fighter who cannot get inside the pocket without taking so many flush headshots, that's why he was able to beat Magdalena, because Magdalena is an 80% power puncher who didn't have a jab. So Dogboe was able to get inside him from counter-punching him initially with the right hand, which dropped him. But then Magdalena would stand off him, try and fight on the back foot up against the ropes, inviting Dogboe in. But against Navarrete, who understands range, not only was he timing him coming in, but he, as Gonzalo correctly said, he understands range, didn't get too greedy, landed some good shots, and then broke range, forcing Dogboe to try and navigate straight down the middle again, which with no defense, you haven't got a clue.
And Dogboe gets very desperate when he gets hurt, because obviously he's coming forward trying to get into the pocket, but he's getting tagged up like Corruption just said, and then he gets frustrated, and then he starts getting wild, and then he gets tagged up even worse.
Killed him. That uppercut was killing him all night.
Yeah, like I said,
Had Navarrete targeted... Sorry.
I was just going to say, I really like how Dogboe fights because he puts it on the line. He's exciting. So I've always picked those sort of fighters ahead of these back foot fighters. I like the sort of style that Dogboe comes with, but he's just got so many flaws. And in that division, I just don't think he's big enough. Size matters. That's why we have divisions, and he just doesn't have the reach, the length. He's just not big enough. He has to go down a division, and I think he could probably compete. But
Agreed. If Navarrete, if he'd started targeting the body, say from the second round, that fight would have been over in round 7-8.
Yeah.
I think they said his thumb was injured. He had a hurt hand, but he didn't want to cancel the fight. But Dogboe, I heard his father's his trainer, right? But that they're not actually very experienced. So if he does continue fighting, it's best that he get a different trainer.
His father was a mechanic for the British Army in Ghana. So he was training sort of soldiers back there.
Yeah, when you have poor fundamentals like Dogboe does, you've got to have some sort of equalizer like Wilder, because he has poor fundamentals too. But he can pull out that equalizer that takes away the poor fundamental sort of thing. Where Dogboe doesn't have that. He's hitting these guys clean and they're not flinching. So that's his only way of winning. And when he's big enough and strong enough to do that, what is the point? I mean, you're only just asking Dogboe to fight at 122 still. You're just asking the man to put his life on the line every time he gets in the ring. That's how it's become now.
Yeah, I agree. And I understand, it must be hard, first of all, for a father to be watching that type of beating the second time around and not be able to do anything about it because he's out of his element. But I kind of understand the fighter, because he came here, he beat I don't know who, I can't remember, but he beat that guy, and he was considered to be a rising prospect. And I guess he comes from Africa, and he feels like he's got it all on the line, that he has to prove that he's a good fighter, because, in other words, now he's going to get thrown to the back of the line, and he's not that popular. He's not going to be that popular to where, they came here with a plan, but obviously that's not happening anymore. So I could see their position, but, this was just all wrong for him.
Yeah. He's in a difficult position, man, because I agree with what Stu said. If he moves up, it's going to get even worse for him, and he can't move down. I mean, he's too stocky, man. He's somebody just in the chat just said there are super flyweights that are taller than Dogboe. Exactly, man. He's just got He's just got an odd frame, bro.
And this is why you have to give Sean Porter all the credit in the world, because time and time again he comes up against stars like this where he's just giving away so much size and not so much width, but like height and reach, and that matters in boxing. The weight doesn't really mean too much. It's the size of the reach, and it makes a lot, especially when you're at world class level. So you have to find ways to get inside, and that's what Porter has done. He's realised that he can't fight on the back foot, trying to outbox people.
Who else is? Who else is in that predicament as well? Is the Castellano kid that fought Lara? He's only like 5'6", 5'7", and he's fighting at 154. Yeah.
But he can actually move his waist a little bit. No, but wouldn't you guys agree that Dogboe, well, he was risking he's got his family from Africa, and he probably was going to get paid. I don't know what, if he would have won the money train, or he would have had more ability to make income for him and his family, right? So I could see why they would be pressured to put it on the line, but it's risky business because
Gonzalo, let's keep it real.
Gonzalo, they're not a poor family. His father has money.
Yeah, but it's nothing to do with that. It's nothing to do with that. Nothing to do with the African pressure. He's not good enough. You can no excuse in the world. This guy's just not good enough. He would never beat Navarrete if they fought 10 times. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter about pressure or all that. He's just not good enough, and he never will be to beat Navarrete. He's just not. He just hasn't got the size to be in that division. It's simple as that. He needs to lose some of that muscle and go down. Otherwise, it's going to be a horrid future for him.
I agree, still. I agree.
Yeah. All right. Now, listen, guys, don't forget, we're going to be talking about a little bit about Berchelt and Vargas later on. Meanwhile, we're just talking here about Dogboe, and Gonzalo made a good point about maybe his entourage and his team wanted to keep sending him out there because remember Corte, he had a couple of paydays on HBO, and all of a sudden he's building hospitals in Ghana and all that. So if you make a couple of mil in the US, you're like Donald Trump over in Africa. So maybe that's why they were looking ahead for more of this. But that's the thing. I don't know if you guys spoke about this because I had to drop off for a couple of minutes. But some people in the chat room are saying that Dogboe didn't have his pharmaceuticals for this fight. And I wanted to ask you, did you hear anything about that? About was he getting tested this time, and that's why maybe this is all suspicious, or what happened? Like, anybody?
Pharmaceuticals would have made no difference. BDA, he's got absolutely nothing to do with his defeat.
I know, but people are intimating that the reason why he looked good against Juarez and against Magdaleno is because he was on something, and now he isn't anymore. Is there any credence to that? Is there anything in the media, any papers, any documents that can back this up? Was he getting tested?
Unless the steroids can fucking make you grow about 3 inches and give you an extra inches on your reach. No, it's just there's just no point, man.
I heard that.
Yeah, it's funny because it's the same thing with the other fighter we're talking about, Jarett Hurd. They were both trying, but it wasn't a matter of effort. It's just they were kind of out of their element, especially Dogboe, him being the shorter guy.
Yeah, man. And now Virtuoso in the chat room says, why does the conversation always boil down to PED usage? Because that's the backbone. That's the backbone of boxing. Just like the tobacco industry is the backbone of the USA. We got to talk about that. Now, speaking of the USA and tobacco, I was watching the Box Nation telecast for this fight, for the top rank fight, and they were talking about Navarrete. What's his name? Bunchi. Good old drunken Bunchi was saying, these Mexican fighters, they all have that same demeanor, tattoos in the same place, and those dead eyes. And I'm thinking, dead eyes? The hell is this guy talking about, dead eyes? I mean, I know what he's trying to say. He's trying to say that they're stoic and still, they got ice in their veins. They're very cold and they're not afraid. But I don't know, I was getting ready to sit down and write an email to Box Nation and say, have Mr. Bunchi fired. Because that's what I do. I sit around all day and I look for racism all over boxing. Anyway, do you guys you guys want to keep talking?
I was going to say, BDA, really fast. Wasn't Francisco Vargas caught with PEDs also, like back in the day?
Yes,
no, it was tainted beef.
That old excuse.
Yeah.
Sure it was.
Yeah.
Fucking
those Mexicans.
He's been getting his ass beat ever since they caught him.
Huh.
He's been exposed for like the average fighter that he always was after they took him off the clenbuterol, man. Like he's just been getting destroyed without his little oomph.
When did he get caught with that shit? Was it after the Muir fight?
Say what, BDA?
When Salido fight, right?
Yes.
It was that? Okay,
it was the one
fight.
with the draw.
I think that was the WBC.
Yeah, it was before the Salido fight, I think, yeah.
Now, the commentators on ESPN made a good point. They said Vargas is never going to... Just like you guys were saying, it's an interesting parallel with Dogboe and Navarrete and Vargas and Berchelt. Vargas is never going to beat... All right, Gonzalo, your microphone is really... All throughout the day, it's really annoying, man. There's like a scratching noise. I don't know if maybe you need to unplug...
I'm going to have to get off. I'm going to have to get off because I don't have my headphones. I'm sorry.
No problem, man. But just remember next time because remember there are people listening to this. It's not just us here. But try to see if you can find a microphone or something, because I don't want you to leave just because of that. But I mean,
it's because I don't have I had to leave my house last night on an emergency.
Okay.
I'll just get on next time.
All right,
guys.
All right. Thanks, Gonzalo, man. Thanks for being on. I'm just gonna say interesting parallel because Vargas, I don't think he's ever gonna beat Berchelt. Now, like we were talking about that last episode, he's got too much scar tissue on his face, just too much, man. And he was opening up right away, and he just looked discouraged too. I mean, I just think he knew. All right, I'm not gonna. He did the right thing. He came forward, tried to pressure Berchelt, just like he did in the first fight. But it wasn't gonna end well for him. So, my question is, Berchelt. I know you guys don't know what to make of him, but where does he go from here? Would you like to see him in against Lomachenko, against Tank Davis?
I want to see him not fight some bums anymore, man. I want him to be done fighting all these damn bums, man. The guy's just been cherry picking, hiding out. He's a disgrace, this Berchelt guy, man. He's good, he's tough, but like he just needs to be done fighting bums. Look at who he's fought. Nobody. Like get this guy the fuck out of here. Like he's gonna go from fighting these bums to someone like Lomachenko. And we're gonna get another dud of a fucking fight. Like, let him prove something against somebody before he gets, to big time. That's what I say.
Who was the Asian kid that has one of the titles at 130?
Masayuki Ito.
Yeah, Ito. Yeah, he said he wants to fight him next, so that at least is a unification fight anyway. I'd like to see him fight Tank Davis, to be honest with you. And I'm going to tell you right now, if that fight ever happens, which it won't, but if it ever does, if Tank Davis don't hurt Berchelt with one of those sharp shots he throws, it's going to be a long night for Tank Davis. That's all I'm going to say.
Agreed.
Now, I want to go back to what Precise said about Berchelt beating nothing but bums. I'm just asking. I'm not challenging your opinion, but I'm just asking. You didn't think highly of the Miura or Vargas fights? All right.
Sorry. No, not at all. I think those guys were just average. Miura was a tough guy, and who else did you mention?
Miura and
Vargas
was.
Yeah. Yeah, you get some credit for Vargas, but that guy wasn't all that good either. Like, they're all the same kind of fighter, whether it's Miura, Berchelt, or Vargas. They all fight the same way, and they're all just kind of average, and they never really fought anybody. Vargas barely got past Miura. I thought that was a bullshit decision to stop the fight, but sorry about the cock.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
But, yeah, I don't know. I think he's been cherry picking guys that are like basically done or like 1 foot in the fucking grave. Maybe they had somewhat of a name, but he's not fighting anybody. He's just hiding out over in fucking Cancun or wherever the fuck this fight was. And he's a chump, man. I'm sorry. The guy's a chump.
He's a chump. I like how the thing I like about Precise, he doesn't mince words. Like he'll go right out to it, like he'll call a guy garbage, a bum. But, listen, I think you do have a point. We can look. Vargas, that's the thing. Vargas, if there's a fighter that should retire, just like they were retiring Dogboe and all that, I think Vargas at this point, he's like in Lamont Peterson territory. He's been through some wars. He's gotten a couple of good wins, good paydays, but his face is just too fucked up, and he's taking a shellacking. So let's go to the ratings. Let's go to 130-pound ratings and see who you guys think Berchelt would match up well against. All right, so I don't know if you can see it on the screen. Alberto Machado. Now, here's my thing, guys. If Machado couldn't stand up to Cancillo's pressure, I don't see him standing up to Berchelt. Or maybe styles make fights. What do you guys think? What about that fight? Anybody?
Stylistically, it is a good fight. You've got Southpaw, Orthodox, Mexican, Puerto Rican rivalry.
Mm-hmm.
But Machado, who's near 6 feet, he really shouldn't be at 130 pounds.
All right, so you think so how do you think that fight would go?
Difficult, Machado has got real power, and he's got for a southpaw fighter, the power is actually in his right hand. His right hook seems to have tagged a lot of people with that right hook. It could be the first one who gets nailed goes down, but I think Berchelt is probably a better fighter with sort of two hands, but he's got too many errors inside the pocket. He's too upright with his chin in the air, and that's exactly how Machado's knocked out people, guys who don't tuck their chins down. So anything can happen in that fight. But Machado, I think the weight is the issue for him, BDA. I think he's cutting too much weight for a 6 feet athlete or whatever to make 130 pounds. He's going to have to move up perhaps even two weight classes.
You know what? You make a good point. And the other thing you mentioned while you were talking made me realize Berchelt has faced some good punchers. I mean, he took some bombs from Roman, he took some bombs from Vargas and from Miura, who are very good punchers. But he's never fought a guy who's going to be punching him from the angles that Machado is going to bring. But you're right, Machado, maybe that weight drain had something to do with his bad performance against Cancio. I don't know. Let's see who else. All right, so we got Roman. I don't think Berchelt, Roman, that already happened. Eduardo Hernandez, I'm embarrassed to say, I don't know who he is, but I'll be looking him up shortly. Joseph Diaz Jr. apparently is at 130 now. He's a good fighter.
Oh, fuck him up, man. Make that fight. Oh, fuck him. Get him out the way, man. I'm sorry. I'm just tired of these dudes. He's like another Tank Davis. Maybe them two should fight. And I'm picking Tank, even though I don't even like Tank. I don't even think he's all that good himself, but I think he'll chop him the fuck down. Berchelt is just, man, like, didn't he get knocked out by some nobody? I know that was a while ago and anything can happen. Anybody could get caught, but I just don't see anything in the dude. He's tough. He's big. Maybe he can take a punch, but he just fought a bunch of... What the fuck is all that noise? He just fought a bunch of like has-beens, you know what I mean? And guys that weren't all that good anyway, so... Well,
let me ask you guys this. Oh, sorry, were you finished? Sorry.
I was finished.
Well, I was just going to ask you, do you think also, speaking of Berchelt, because he does have bad technique and he lifts his chin up in the air, but is he on something? If you had to guess, if you had to make a real statement, if somebody had a gun to your head and said, listen, yes or no, would you think...
He loves fighting south of the border, bro. What do you think?
All right, yeah. I guess I know what the answer is. Because he does look very, very strong and ripped. Corruption, you were going to say something?
Yeah, and try throwing 1,200 punches over 12 rounds, BDA, without something.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think I know what you guys are saying.
Are we talking about the 130 division? We are, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
Yeah, it just fills me with no interest. It's just when you mention the 130 division, I just start to go in a daze and start thinking about what I'm doing tomorrow. Just got no care for it. It's it's one big name really. That's Tank, and he don't want to fight anyone. I mean, the division's poor. I can see why Lomachenko left it, but it doesn't fill me with any enthusiasm at all.
At least with Francisco Vargas, before he lost to Berchelt, him and Lomachenko were going to fight. Vargas had already indicated, that was going to be next before, Berchelt got his title shot. So at least there would have been better continuity in the division. Vargas would have been obviously comprehensively beaten by Vasily. So at least Vargas was prepared to get in the ring with people, even though, limited he was as a fighter.
Yeah. And listen, hold on a second. Stu said he needed to be woken up. Let me wake everybody up.
Hey, you stupid fucks, listen up!
Listen, you guys need to wake up, man. We got about half an hour left. We're almost at the finish line. But you guys make very good points about Berchelt and the 130-pound division. It's one of the weakest divisions, and I don't see any potential. At least the 140-pound division was shaping up nicely. You could see the good fighters on the horizon. This one... Oh, and by the way, I see we got Jimmy on the line. Jimmy, you can't speak until we got you introduced properly, all right? Those are the rules.
I thought I had a mute. Sorry, I thought I was muted.
Them's the rules.
I had a bad trip at a wedding in Maine, and it was a stormy night, right? I'm on LSD. Oh, I was fucking freaking out. It was horrible. I'll never take it again.
All right.
What's going on, guys?
What up, Jimmy?
What's happening? Yeah, I'm with you guys on that too, man. Like, Stu, 130, it's because of, I think Tank is limited. I think he's more of a brawler than he is actually fundamentally skilled. But I think no matter who you put him in with, it'll be exciting. But Berchelt, I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know what it is. It's just, and Vargas, that whole fucking thing last night. Now, they're both with Golden Boy, right? I think they are, right?
No,
Vargas.
Berchelt is with Zanfer, which is
okay. Zanfer's like a junior Golden Boy. He does a lot of business with Golden Boy and them. You know what I mean? But he's on that side of the track. So you see what's developing here? It's all in-house fights. It's rehashing guys that you can get done because there's no PBC cross promotions. So it's like all these that Vargas fight. That thing. why the fuck is that dude? Obviously, he needs the money. Why would you spend the money, go through the surgical, have his face redone, the scar tissue worked on to get it beat? That's why I think they threw the towel in last night. I'll tell you, but because it's like, why? Why wouldn't you have done that at the end of your career? But he should. I thought he was washed 2 years ago. So I wasn't interested in that fight at all. But that's my theory on that. I'm getting tired of seeing all these. It's either a fucking preconceived. I mean, so we know who's going to win. It's just basically the A side, shining, and a fucking B side looking to get paid. It's enough of that. I want some intrigue. That's why at least with J-Rock, I actually had that at a 50-50. And I didn't really know who was going to win because I have a lot of respect for Breadman. I think he's a good trainer. But
it was a hell of a fight, wasn't it, Jimmy?
Yeah, it was an excellent fight. I didn't see a lot of people, again, because of the whole, and you heard him talk about it at the end of the fight, this whole obsession with a loss is ridiculous. Yeah. There is different levels of losses, right? You can have a fucking go toe-to-toe, lose, but this generation just puts so much. I mean, do you remember how much visceral that kid took after he got knocked out by Charlo? Who I think we can all agree was probably fucking sauced out of his tits. All right, and he got, you know what I mean? Come on, and then, but that kid got crucified. Not only did he get crucified, I remember, but his fans were getting attacked. I remember people just going around like, Jesus. People like, oh, what's up, fucking J-Rock? You thought he was. I don't know. Was it Schadenfreude or whatever that word is that people enjoy the misery or this? And just a cesspool, Twitter. I got to stop going on it. But yeah, no. So, but I'm happy for him. He's a class act.
Well, Jimmy,
that was cool what he said about his mom after the fight. I thought that was really sharp of him.
Jimmy, I will say that if you are going to go to Twitter, check out BDA's Twitter page, which is run by Butch. Sorry, I had to get that plug in. But what did he say?
I do all the time.
All right, thanks, man. What did Williams say about his mother?
About Hurd's mom after the end of the fight, in the post-fight, not in the post-fight, but in the ring. Williams' mom just passed away a couple of years ago. So I guess before he met, because they all come into the hotel usually the week of the fight, and he was there, and he said, I tried not to because but she was really sweet to him. I guess hugged him and said, God, kid, it was really nice to him and just said, be safe in there. And he was choking up saying, no, here's a woman showing me kindness, knowing that I'm trying to hurt her son. It was just the way I just thought it was really a class act to say that. Like he just threw props to Hurd's mom in the ring.
You know what, Jimmy? They were both of them guys were complete class acts after the fact last night. Both of them were. I totally agree, bro.
Yeah.
Totally agree. Yeah.
Big difference, right? You see a difference. Like that's Breadman's influence. You'll see all his fights like that when they start, because it was of course, right at the end of the fight, you're all amped up, right? You was in a fight, and he was at the corner. Not this fight, but it was 2 fights ago, and there was some bad blood. I forget who it was, and he stopped the dude. J-Rock got back to the corner, he's like, yeah, and he's like throwing his fist down, and right away, Breadman gets up, and you can see it, like, he has his back to the camera, but he's shaking his head no, and he's with his hand like, no, knock it off. Like, don't start yelling shit to the camera and saying stuff you can't take back. He's saying so he's a calming force, and they talked about that a lot during the fight, how he's very calm in the corner. I just like him. I like his philosophy. He's an old school thinker, but anyways, I don't mean to monopolize the time. I'll let you get.
You know what? We have the I just found the audio because I think it's pretty interesting that they were showing respect. Let me just play that when they're talking about each other's mothers.
Fuck you, you fucking whore.
Wait a minute, that's not it. Hold on a second. Sorry about that. That's not it. That's not it.
I think that was the other one.
Yeah.
I am
that
a
was
prick.
Brona.
I am a prick.
Who the fuck are you? I should remember you.
All right, so we don't have the audio, but listen, I want to talk about.
After that was Harrison Charlo.
Yeah, BDA hit us with the Sopranos, the Carlitos way, everything on that one.
And Showgirls. Don't forget Showgirls. Listen, sorry, apology. You were going to say something?
Yeah, I think that's the Harrison Charlo clip.
Maybe, but you know what? Speaking of those, Oh, first of all, Jimmy, I wanted to ask you, because we didn't get, now that we're back on Williams, because nobody wants to talk about Berchelt. And by the way, I think Berchelt is going to be voted the fighter with the least respect here on BDA, because none of you guys respect the guy. You don't want to talk about him, which, I respect, but it's just...
We could talk a little bit more about 130 if you want.
Nah, fuck him.
As bad as some guys are saying, but...
I think it's much more interesting.
Oh, we could just move on.
Yeah. Well, let's go back to the Williams Hurd. I think it was much more interesting. But, Jimmy, I wanted to get your take on something, because I don't know if you saw that. Well, you did. I think that Williams-Hurd fight. Were you as impressed as all of us with the way Williams was getting in those short shots on the inside, especially the right hands?
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, no, he was very sharp. He was very controlled. You can tell he worked on it. That wasn't like something he decided. Some guy's going to fight. Just I'm going to do my thing, and whatever happens. You can so tell just the way he was positioned, and he was coming up, bopping left and right with his shoulders and looking up to the tops of his eyes. He must have been doing a lot of pad work on the inside, and I don't think anybody thought he was going to come in. And I think he realized if I try to, because I don't know. At first, I thought it was going to be a bad idea for him to hang in there, but you could. I personally, if you was someone who would ask me what went wrong in Hurd's thing, I would say he didn't. Part of the dangers of social media, when you get on it and you start reading, everybody's telling how bad Williams is going to get smoked. Fucking Hurd's going to go right through him. It's human nature. You read it, you're thinking, okay, I got the belts. Everybody, you get comfortable. It just happens with these guys, and that they don't put that same. If you don't think this kid's going to hurt you, and everybody around you's telling you you're going to win, it plays on you. That's why if I was training kids, I'd be like, put fucking Twitter down, dude. Don't you go near any of that shit. I'd have them just focus and train like they were fighting the hardest fight of their life every time.
Yeah. So the thing is, sorry, my dog. Yeah, the thing is with that fight, J-Rock, he's technically good, very classy with his shots, and to him it's like cannon fodder because Hurd doesn't move at all. It's just punching practice, if you know what I mean. So a man like J-Rock, he's just got to do what he does best, and that's land his crisp shots, and hope Hurd don't land one himself, sort of thing. But Hurd was tailor made for J-Rock, and that's my point because Hurd just doesn't have any head movement. He doesn't, for a big guy, doesn't seem to block punches very well either. I mean,
Stu, in a rematch, who would you have in a rematch with Charlo and Hurd right now? Like if they were to fight the next fight, say come up the end of August, who would you go with right now going into that fight?
What do you mean a rematch? They've not fought, have they? Charlo and Hurd?
I'm sorry. Williams, I meant the one he knocked out.
Well, that's a tough one because with Charlo, I mean, I'm not sure what Charlo we're going to get from now on because he looks emotionally gone. He looks.
That's why I ask you. I'm curious too. That's why I'm serious. I posed the question to all you guys. Who do you guys got? If that was to happen,
he took that defeat quite badly, and he looks shot mentally. So I just don't know. I mean, the confidence J-Rock would have got from that performance, could move him on to the next level. It's a very tough one at the moment because you've got one coming off a very good performance and one coming off a loss.
Exactly.
If what fight was to happen, Jimmy?
If Williams was to say, right now, I want that rematch. I want to, wipe away that blemish. I want to beat the guy who knocked me out. I want to, because he was winning that fight, and I had him winning a fight before he got slept. Mm-hmm. But now that he's the champion, obviously, remember, part of the thing going into that fight, he was pissed, even tweeted about it, like he wasn't tested. There was all kinds of other shit going on. He was the B-side, so he had to take all the shit being shoveled down on him. This time, he'd be the champion. He would actually be able to say, no, you're getting tested, motherfucker.
I'll be honest with you, dude. If they were to fight right now, I might favor Williams, man.
I would too.
I picked Williams the first time around. I was wrong.
I did too.
I would pick him again.
I did. I picked him the first time around too.
I feel like they'll probably like rob him or do some B-side shit again because Heyman has his favorites, like every other promoter, and I think Charlo's are his favorites.
Well, that begs the question. Apology. At least with Charlo, the older Charlo, he's supposedly the bigger puncher, bigger puncher of the brothers, right? I think. So if the 154-pound one fights Julian Williams, if he can get past Harrison, then maybe because you guys were saying that you picked Williams in the first fight. I mean, in the fight against the other Charlo, and I didn't make a pick, but I thought it was going to be 50-50. I don't think any of us expected Williams to have a chin made of glass the way he came into that fight. So
that's how it seemed, though, bro. I mean, this is why it was hard for me to pick against Hurd because it was just very alarming how Jamal dropped J-Rock. I think when Jimmy was asking about the Jamal fight, I actually think Jamal probably is the better one out of the two. I do think he's better than Jamal. So he's the one that stopped J-Rock. So the other Charlo, I think, would be a closer fight. So yeah, I'd like to see that, to be honest with you.
Yeah, because you remember,
I think Tony Harrison is a difficult style for Julian Williams.
Yeah, yes, he keeps it long, has a good jab, so
Exactly.
it'll be hard for Williams.
He's a heavy-handed combination puncher. He likes to get his punches off first, but he can also box and move with that Philly shuffle, and it'll be difficult for Julian Williams to try and fight him on the inside.
But to Stu's point too, though. Oh, sorry, Fire.
No, I was just gonna say any top 5 guy in that division against another top 5 guy, I think is gonna be a tough fight. It's just a very competitive division, I think. No great fighters.
Right.
And he does. I would definitely, to echo Stu's point, the confidence of winning the belts last night. I mean, that's huge. I mean, he's 100 feet tall today. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's not
and
just
also that his chin.
It's not exactly apology. It's the fact that he went in there with Hurd and came out. He lasted the 12, because it must have been going through his head. What happens when Hurd catches me? Because obviously, if you've been knocked out before, we're all human. We're going to start thinking those sort of things. I'm sure J-Rock was thinking that. So the fact that he come out of that fight unscathed is going to give him even more confidence. And like I said, because Charlo's looking shot to pieces mentally at the moment. So yeah, I think I'd have to go with J-Rock in that one. I think.
Yeah, Stu, and I'm sure and I've been dropped at sparring and shit before, so it'll cross your mind. Oh fuck, I got knocked out by this guy. This guy might do that to me. So it very well probably crossed his mind. But but like you say, that's a big confidence boost for him. I went to, I survived the 12 with this guy who's twice my size and a big pressure fighter. So that's got to boost his confidence up some. Absolutely.
Good points. And I also want to go back to something that Jimmy mentioned earlier about how the internet crowd turned on Williams when he lost to Charlo. I think, this is my theory, I think partly the reason why he got so much flack was, yes, because he did a little bit of talking, but also I think it's because most guys on the internet were saying that Julian Williams was the second coming. They were very high on him. He was the dark horse of the division. And boxing fans, we don't like to be made fools of. We don't like to look stupid. And I think a lot of people who were championing him as a next great fighter ended up getting a lot of egg on their faces. And I think they turned on Williams for making him look bad. I don't know. That's my theory.
Spot on, brother. Spot on.
That's a good point.
And thanks, guys. I also wanted... Yeah, go ahead, Apology.
Real quick. I mean, he is a great fighter. It's just his chin that's his problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that chin.
I think it was the way he went down. It was very alarming, wasn't it? It was like he just looked really chinny that night. He really did.
Jessica Shushi's got a lot of egg on her face.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, but just to bring this back to reality, I guess. Bad choice of words. Anyway, it takes something like, I don't remember, like 1 or 2 pounds of force on the chin to knock somebody out. You could hit somebody just right and they'll just go to sleep. You know what I mean? So maybe it was a case of that. He just got hit just right with the perfect shot, and that's all she wrote. Anybody could get knocked out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I think
let's wait and see.
I think that's a good point. But without last night, we probably couldn't have brought that point up because we didn't have any evidence to prove that it could have been a lucky shot. And last night, he proved that he went the 12 with Hurd. Maybe it was a lucky shot. Maybe he got caught on the temple. It just one of those shots. Boxing, it happens to the best of them. But so I'm starting to think maybe he's not as chinny as I first thought. But you can only go by evidence of what you're seeing.
He didn't see the punches. That's what it was. He didn't see that uppercut.
Precise makes a good point, though. Like I say, it just has to be on the G spot. It's the same thing when you get hit in the body, bro. Yeah, it doesn't have to be the fucking biggest haymaker in the world. If it's on the G spot,
right, stop saying that.
Yeah.
Hey, did you guys see the PBC fight card last night? The one before the one with the body shot? In the second round, he caught him with the liver shot. You see that delay? Isn't that classic? The kid even pops back like almost 2 full seconds. I was like, ugh! He must have at one point let a breath out, and he realized he couldn't bring any back in, and he just dropped.
Jimmy, they said that kid was from Racine, Wisconsin. That's where I went to high school at too before he moved to Texas.
Oh no shit, huh?
There was a next generation. There was a next generation generation card on in the UK. Eddie Hearn did it with some of the young talent coming through. They had a couple of Americans over there, and some of the young Brits were fighting as well. And there was a guy fighting on the top of the bill, Jordan Gill, and I know someone who went to the fight because it was in Nottingham. So I got a mate who actually went there because he knows the Jordan Gill. He knows, and he's got a very, very good back. And Eddie Hearn's never really wanted this guy because Eddie Hearn likes GB athletes. GB athletes usually. That's fighters with some sort of name. But this Jordan Gill, he's had hardly any fights. He sells 1,000 tickets on his own, which is incredible for a fighter like that. But he's fought. They brought a Mexican over. He's won the title. He won it a couple of months ago, and he's back on the card. And he's fought the Mexican, some tough Mexican, and he apparently had food poisoning. And this Mexican stopped him last night, and Eddie Hearn was fucking furious with the guy. My mate was telling me because obviously he speaks to Jordan Gill after the fight, and Jordan Gill, he says Eddie Hearn hasn't. He said Eddie Hearn hasn't spoke to him, not come into the change room. He's really angry with him because he had food poisoning and he took the fight, and Eddie didn't tell anyone, and Eddie Hearn weren't very happy with him. So, you know, Eddie comes across as a nice guy and all that lot, but it just proves, mate.
You're right, Stu. You're right. They even flipped over David. Remember when David Avanesian was due to fight one of Eddie Hearn's fighters? The kid from Sunderland, the flashy guy at 147.
Yeah.
Who's trained by Adam Booth.
That's right.
He called off the fight after the weighing on the morning of the fight. And Avanesian, as you know, his family is in Russia, so he was training over here with Carl Greaves, and Eddie Hearn never even compensated him properly for them to pull out their fighter, you know, just sort of hours before the fight. You know, that was massive disrespect.
Yeah, I mean, but this is a guy like he's basically got behind. He didn't want to get behind him because he prefers his gym mate. There's a guy called Wood who. Same weight, and they're real good friends in the gym, but he's a real talent. He looks like the talent, but he likes him. He prefers him to Jordan Gill, but Jordan Gill's a big ticket seller, so he jumped on the bandwagon, Eddie Hearn. But it just shows you, he talks about the next generation, building up these kids and all that, like, you know. But as soon as this guy gets beat, they bring a tough Mexican over who's schooled, and this guy obviously weren't 100%, obviously because of the food poison. Eddie Hearn lost his rag with this guy. Didn't even fucking go in the change room to see him. Didn't show any respect. Just went home without even speaking to the kid, you know. And then calling him out live on Sky about taking this fight and all that. So, you know, I thought it was poor taste by Eddie Hearn last night. This is a young kid, man, next generation, and this is how you treat him.
He's a promoter, man. What do you expect? I mean, he's no different from Al Heyman and Bob Arum, and these guys lose their shit when money's involved. And they open their mouth. And
can I just say, Steven Schneider? I know you like to think you know everything in the world. You are the answer to everything. The Encyclopedia Schneider. I know you think you're that, but I'm talking about a guy who knows Jordan Gill, right? Who's friends with him, went to the fight and spoke to him after the fight. I've got inside information here. You, a guy that lives on the other side of the world, you can donate as much as you want. It don't mean you're going to know more than me on this one. So yes, I do believe that shit. It's true. Well, Jordan Gill has said it with his own mouth.
Speaking of the fighters of that fight and friends and inside information, apparently Gonzalo says he knows the guy that beat Jordan Gill. His name is Enrique Tinoco, and Gonzalo apparently knows him. He says that they were friends. So shout out to Gonzalo on that one. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure Enrique's listening to the show.
He was in the Mayans with Gonzalo, wasn't he? He was in
But hey, listen, I want to bring it back. Oh, okay. Yeah, I think we're lagging a little bit on YouTube, but I just wanted to bring it back real quick to Jarett Hurd, because we talked about Williams and where he's going or where he might be going. What about Hurd? Would he be better suited at 160, or are his defensive liabilities going to cost him in higher divisions? Come on.
Well, personally, my opinion, I think he needs to win again at 154 unless he's having a real hard time making it. I don't know. I didn't hear anything. He looked sweaty. He didn't look dry. He didn't have the physical attributes of somebody weight trained. I think it was more mental. I don't think he didn't prepare for the fight properly, I think. I bet you if he would ask him today, he would probably say, yeah, I took him a little light.
Well, let me ask you this then. Let's say he moves up to 160, and I'm looking at the ratings here, the top 10. How would you guys think Hurd would do against a guy like Sulensky?
It's a good fight. It's a good fight, BDA.
Would you?
I just think Hurd needs a new trainer, dude. Did you hear the last round tell him not to go to the body?
Yeah,
forget the body. You don't ever tell a fighter to forget the body, man. You set up headshots with the body shot. You bring your hand down. You know, you catch someone with a good body shot, the elbows come down automatically, opens the head up. I mean, don't focus on the body, but just to yell out, stay away from the body. Just what, head hunt? It was just a few things he said. I don't know. I wasn't too big of a fan, but
I think Selecki would probably beat him, BDA, but it'd be a good fight, though.
That's the reason why. Yeah, that's why I brought up that fight, because Sulensky's a little bit like Jarett Hurd. Jarett Hurd, like Julian Williams, with his straight shots, and he's a bigger version of Julian Williams and taller. So maybe that's why I was wondering, like what would the barometer be for Hurd at 160? And another thing I wanted to bring up was, like Jimmy, you said that Hurd's trainer told him to stop going to the body. Would Mickey Ward have stopped going to the body? You're a good friend.
My God. I wish I was with Mickey watching that fight last night. He would have fucking flipped out. How many fucking fights? Well, Mickey, I think, actually has if I'm not mistaken, he held the record for the longest time under 160 on the middleweights body shots. I mean, he knocked out majority of his body. He would just get you. He would. I mean, did it to me. I would expect he would do it to me.
Jarett Hurd's no Mickey Ward when it comes to throwing body shots. And for a start, every time Jarett Hurd did go to the body, he was getting fucking pieced up. So
weird feet, right? Yeah, his feet were in weird positions when he would throw sometimes.
Well, he just arm punches. He doesn't plant his feet. He just throws arm punches.
They were slappers, exactly.
He doesn't turn his shots. It slaps.
Especially in them last few rounds after he just got done taking a beating for 8 rounds. There was just absolutely nothing on them punches, just no steam at all on them punches. It was just slaps, like you'd say.
And like with Mickey, he trained like the whole fight, his whole premise of the fight, everything he did in the ring was for inevitably set up the body shot. Because he just knew you catch somebody in the liver. Like I say it all the time, I would rather get punched in the head because you're out. You don't even notice it. I couldn't even imagine being in front of thousands of people like that. And of course, everybody's jumping up and cheering. You're like just looking out and you can't breathe. It's the worst, man. I'm telling you. I've never been knocked out in a fucking ring, so I've been out on my feet a couple of times, definitely. That high-pitched ring, and it feels like you're walking in water, going back to the corner, like, wow, I'm walking in fucking oatmeal.
Jimmy, I got dropped with a body shot once in sparring, bro. It sounded like
it happened to me 3 times. All Mickey. Yeah. Mickey was all 3 times he did it to me. And 2 of them I was wearing a flak jacket, and we had 14-ounce gloves on. And and he said, breathe, bro, breathe. He's holding my cup up. I'm laying on my back. And of course, everybody's giggling like fucking schoolgirls at my pain.
Talking of giggling, I saw a comment in the chat earlier by the Fight Scout. He said he watched the Jacobs Canelo fight again, and he had Jacobs winning 11 rounds to 1.
All right,
that's something to laugh about.
Yeah, I brought that up earlier. Well, listen, it's his opinion as well.
Well, listen, this guy, he's got a cheek to come at me when he's saying Jacobs won 11 rounds.
Well, I rewatched that fight by myself because I first saw it in a room full of people, which I hate, and especially at my house because then I like focus. And anyways, I'm watching it by myself. Holy shit, that wasn't a good fight. That just wasn't an exciting fight at all. Well, I'm sorry, man. My opinion, but fuck.
It's not just your opinion, bro. It's just not just your opinion.
All right, man. Thank you. I'm like, fuck. I was prepared to catch some hell. Like, dude, you got to stop thinking about all these old fights. Really, but yeah, no.
This year's just been so poor. We got 2 top middleweights, and both of them went through fire with Triple G. So we're like, yeah, it's gonna be a good fight. Nope.
Good. I'm glad I'm not the dissenting opinion on that.
It was an anti-climax. It wasn't a bit of an anti-climax. I was expecting better for the sake.
And when you get the promoter, the matchmaker, guaranteeing the modern day Hagler Hearns.
I think that was I actually think Canelo Alvarez was probably in. It looked like he was in third gear sort of thing. It just maybe the constant training camps. You got to remember he went from a big big training camp to fight Golovkin. Then he went straight into a camp against Fielding, then straight into another camp against Jacobs. Taken into account, he went up to 168 in his last fight, so he had a lot of weight to lose as well and muscle. So he just didn't look as sharp as he usually does, but he looked a bit third gear. So maybe that's why the fight was pretty poor, because Jacobs was on a run quite a lot. Jacobs was
his knee's fucked up. I don't know if you guys remember Eric Gomez or someone from Golden Boy tweeted that Canelo had this surgery. And it was
Canelo fired back something like,
it was just cosmetic. It wasn't just cosmetic, man. He had something wrong with his knee, man. Like, you look at his footwork in the Jacobs fight and you compare it to like 3 fights ago. I was actually giving him credit because his footwork was getting better. He was in and out a lot better and on his toes. I'm not trying to say he's Sugar Ray Leonard or anything like that, but for Canelo, it was impressive. And then fast forward to the Triple G fight, and well, I guess he didn't have to move too much in that fight, but like you look at the Jacobs fight, and he's just back to like the Canelo that fought Erislandy Lara. He just
crazy what Triple G, man, brings out the best, doesn't he? When you fight, everybody he fights is going to be at their best.
It's only because you got no choice to fight him, because you can't run from Golovkin because he's just a master at cutting off the ring and getting to you. You have to fight him back. You have to hit him to keep him off you, and that's what I believe Canelo did in the second. I think he lost the first one clearly, but that's what I believe he did in the second. That's why I just gave him the nod.
Can I tell you, I heard from like somebody told me on the DL that this trainer, I guess, going in with really wants to put an emphasis on G to the body work. His next fight. So that's what I was told. Yes. Banks, that's his name.
I hope Triple G carries this guy a little bit and like gets some rounds in, because he's been going from like fighting a nobody, knocking him over, to like a tough 12-round fight. You know, I think it'd be good for him to go some rounds with this dude. Maybe practice some of the new stuff that, or you know, whatever Banks wants to implement. Like that's just me, man. People are probably gonna be like, no, go in there and knock him out because you're gonna get criticized, blah blah blah. Yeah, I don't care about any of that. I want to see Golovkin work, right? I want to see him work on stuff, especially now that he's with Banks, and it's likely that after this he's gonna fight Canelo. And I have a feeling they're gonna make that fight next, man, because it's not looking good for Canelo, guys. I don't think he's got a lot left, to be honest, at the top level.
Yeah, but it's just, my problem is, you know, Canelo gets stick, but he's gone and took a big fight with Jacobs. And he took obviously a Rocky Field is not a big fight, but he went up, took a belt. I believe Golovkin could have done that anytime he wanted to, and he should have done, but he didn't. He just hung around for 10 years waiting for people to have the balls to fight him. And this is my problem with Golovkin. And look, when he's come back, look who he's fought. I mean, in this time, Canelo's fought like twice. He's had 2 camps and he's had two fights. Golovkin's come back and he's fighting Cheese Roll, whatever his fucking name is. You know what I'm saying? So this is why sometimes, you know, when you're giving Canelo stick, you just have to look at it and think, well, Golovkin really, he shouldn't be getting much credit for taking this fight. And
well, I mean, he's coming off a draw and a loss. So why doesn't he deserve an easy fight?
Well, Golovkin could have gone and done what Canelo did, go up to 168 and take one of them belts off one of them guys. He could do it anytime he wants. Why don't you do that then?
No. Like, see, this is the thing with Canelo. If Golovkin was paying you $15 million a fight, he would have had all the belts already, right? But it's the fact that you got to get in there with Golovkin, and you're getting less than $1 million, maybe 1.2 to fight the guy, and you're taking the beating of your career. That's why nobody wanted to fight him. And I don't believe anybody at 168 wants to fight him. I didn't see, after the Canelo fight, I didn't see anybody calling Golovkin's name. Nobody. Not any of the bigger guys, nobody at 160. So, you know,
hold on. I don't want to turn this into I don't want to turn this into the Triple G Canelo rematch.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm okay with that. But like,
I think it's good that we get this out, because obviously it went a bit pear-shaped the other night. And I don't want it to get like that again. I had my reasons for doing it. I think it's good that we spend a couple of minutes just getting out in the air and clearing the air, so you know we know where we stand. You know, at the end of the day, I've always loved Golovkin as a fighter, but I have to keep it down the middle. You have to keep it real sometimes. This guy, you know, he could have done what Canelo's done. He he could have come back and fought a half decent guy. Middle. Everyone keeps telling me the guy has been. Yes, he's been avoided, but recently not. He's fought. Jacobs fought him. Canelo fought him twice. Lemieux's fought him. I mean, Billy Joe Saunders was willing to go to Kazakhstan and fight the guy, but he pulled out for obvious reasons because he was hurt from the Jacobs fight. But he still pulled out. Billy Joe was willing to go there and fight. So no one's really ducking Golovkin, hiding from him like people say. So for me, Golovkin's got to start stepping up. He's getting old now. He needs to start taking big fights. A lot of people had him winning the Canelo fight, which is fine by me. My problem is not that you had that Golovkin winning that fight. My problem is that no one's given Canelo any credit. That was
2013 to 2015, nobody. I mean, or 2016, those 3 years, like 13 to 16, you couldn't get nobody to go in the ring with him. That's when he had the kid from Britain saying, "No, you swerve, Golovkin." Remember when he said that? What was his name? He's a commentator now, middleweight champ.
Michael.
Froch? Yeah, Froch said that. Golovkin? No, you don't fight Golovkin. You swerve him. That was in those 3 years' time.
Jimmy, there was a time there when people were ducking him. Of course.
Yeah, 13 to 16 was like it was difficult.
But not anymore.
Who called him out? Billy Joe Saunders didn't call him out. I don't see anybody. Who called him out? Who wants to fight him?
Listen, Billy Joe Saunders signed the fucking contract to fight in Kazakhstan. You don't need to call someone out. Anyone could call someone out. When you're signing the contract to fight in Kazakhstan, it proves that you're willing to take the fight. Whether he believed he could win or not is not the point here. He took the fight. Just like Lemieux took the fight, took his ass whooping. Canelo took the fight twice. Jacobs took the fight. So people are taking the fight with this guy now. Yes,
even G's upset with himself. He upset with himself that he felt he let Canelo follow him around, like dangle the carrot in front of him, control his career too much. And I heard that was the reason it almost broke him and Loeffler up.
Jacobs avoided Canelo for like 5 years. Then he said he wanted 10 million. And then they finally they nailed the fight down. And, he finally did fight him, so he gets credit. But let's not act like Jacobs was ready, willing, and able to fight Golovkin whenever. And as far as the whole Billy Joe Saunders thing, I've never seen the contract. I've never heard the other side of the story. Maybe he signed the contract, maybe he didn't. But Billy Joe Saunders not trying to go after Golovkin. No one is. Who wants to fight him? Who called him out? Who? Nobody. So I don't see people wanting to fight him.
Well, now it's hard. He doesn't have the belts too, right? So now it's hard. Like you get a kick on that Kazakhstan punch. He might be getting old, but that kid's still cracked, right? Now he doesn't have those trinkets.
But that was my point, Jimmy. When he had the belts, no one wanted to fight him. It was like getting people in the ring with him was very difficult. Okay, Danny did it. Canelo did it. But they avoided him for years before they fought him. Let's not forget that.
Canelo paid him money and dropped the belt.
And just like you're saying right now that he doesn't have any belts, they really don't want to fight him for what?
Yeah, but Danny Jacobs 5 years ago, no one was calling for that fight. Nobody wanted.
All right,
how many years did Jacobs hold that WBA regular belt for?
Guys, we can do a whole episode on this another day if we need to. I think people. I mean, there's a lot to say, and I think we should do an episode on this. For the moment, though, we do have to go soon, so I don't want to end on a Canelo Triple G. I will say this though regarding that Triple G right now. He has a multi-fight deal with the Zone. And he's 37. He hasn't fought since September. He needs a tune-up. I don't think the Zone is going to allow him to fight this level of opposition for his next 5-6 fights or however long that contract is. They're probably going to stick him in there against Canelo again in a rubber match. So he's going to fight somebody good. I mean, right now he's taking one tune-up. And if he takes another tune-up in his next fight, then I suppose we do have a reason to criticize him. But I don't want to talk about that Triple G Canelo thing again right now. I'd rather you kill me right now. Go ahead and kill me, you cocksucker! Now listen.
We talk about Pacquiao Thurman now.
Nah, we have to go. We have to go though. We have to go. So yeah, we have to go. We'll save that Pacquiao Thurman subject for another episode. But I do before we go, I do want to say that before you guys came on, I was talking about Harold Letterman, who passed away I think yesterday. I don't know if last night or last
yesterday.
Evening, yeah, it was yesterday. And the guy was a huge boxing fan, man. I just want to give respect to him for. I mean, yeah, his scorecards sometimes were very dodgy, and I mean, hey, it's a subjective sport at the end of the day. So, but he was a big, huge boxing.
I got to meet him a few times actually because he was always at the Mickey fights, and he was a true. And I tell you guys, he was a true boxing fan. That dude. I mean, you know how some people are just like they live something. I remember even as a young kid when I first time met him, he was like an encyclopedia, dates. Like he would talk about a fight like it was yesterday. And like he said, he was never good at it. He tried as a kid. He goes, I sucked, but I just couldn't get enough of it. And I remember thinking when I met him, like I admired that quality. I'm like, I'm not that way about anything, not even pussy. I remember, I swear to God, that's what I was thinking. I was, because he was just, I'm like, Christ, I'm not that, like, yeah. So he made an impression on me then. So I always kind of respected him. And he came over and talked to my grandfather. He knew of my grandfather actually, and showed him respect. And I don't know, it really bummed me out. I was really sad to hear that. I just want to say that. So before anybody says he's a douchebag, I'll just hang up, because I respected the guy.
Well, he was. I mean, you got to give him respect. I mean, I can't remember, somebody mentioning his name without hearing, okay, Jim, or him saying.
He got his daughter, right? His daughter, a judge. Imagine that household. Oh, wow. His heterosexual daughter's a fucking boxing judge. Can you imagine how important that fucking sport was in his house?
Must have been huge, man.
The influence.
Did he make it? All right, Stu, you okay, man? It sounds like he's choking there.
Yeah, sorry.
Did you just take a hit of the ganja, or what were you doing?
Yeah.
There you go. All right, he has to be high to deal with the people in the chat room. But Harold Letterman, man. Harold Letterman, I do remember. Was he inducted into the Hall of Fame, or?
Yeah, oh yes. A while ago.
Yeah, yep. So just that. I just wanted to say that. Shout out to Harold Letterman. May he rest in peace, man. I mean, the guy, true boxing fan, as true a boxing fan as it gets. Anyway.
You got to get a 10 count. You should have one on the standby in case one of us die. You can, it'll be me. I'm the oldest, so do a 10 count for me when I pass.
That's a good idea.
Girl call in. He's dead. He's finally gone. Ring that motherfucker.
All right.
BDA, did you say we save Pacquiao Thurman for next time?
Yes, because right now I'm in my farm. Precise not the only one in the farm. You can see here I got my chickens. But you know what? I do have a cow.
Oh, so this is an early show then, right? Because it's not just me. This is a quick one, right?
Well, we've been on for 2 hours. Again? We've been on for 2 hours now. 2 hours and 11 minutes. Hold on a second. Would the 10 count be good if we used a cow? Or would that just get annoying real quick?
Hey, fucking if it's for me, I'll take it.
All right, why not? Hey, listen, I'm in charge here with this whole soundboard thing, so.
Who put this thing together? Me! That's who!
All right, listen. We'll save that. We'll save the Pacquiao Thurman thing for next week. I mean, for the next episode. And don't forget, I'm pumped up, man. I'm pumped up for next week. No, I'm not that pumped up for Deontay Wilder, although I do have to give him props. When he fights, somebody's going to get iced. But, and also, there's Billy Joe Saunders. I suppose that's an interesting fight. The day before that, you got Ryan Burnett fighting. But the one I'm most excited for, the 140-pound and 118 tournament, man. Ivan Baranchyk taking on Josh Taylor in Scotland, and Baranchyk says he's going to silence the crowd. That should be a good fight. And then, of course, Emmanuel Rodriguez taking on Naoya Inoue in the other bracket of the bantamweight tournament. I tell you something, I'm excited. I was going to say
Me too. Hey, can I just say one thing? I just one thing, and I'm going to hang up because I of the show. That Pacquiao fight, I just want to let you know. Let me know for sure because I'm pissed about that. PBC, 4 years, the best welterweight division, and they're fucking. This is what it comes down to. They're all trying to make their bones off a 40-year-old guy who hasn't slept anybody in a decade. Fuck PBC. All right, gentlemen. Love you all, man. Peace.
Peace,
right.
Jimmy.
Thank you, Jimmy, for being on. And yeah, that's the thing about why. Real quick before we go, I will talk about this in the next episode, but why isn't Pacquiao fighting Spence? I mean, you would think they would want to put. Why are they putting Spence against? I mean, I don't know. I don't know what they do. Marinating fights. Don't forget, they wanted to marinate Charlo versus Jarett Hurd too, and look what happened here. It's like the old, it's like the old Gamboa versus Juan Manuel Lopez fight. Remember that? Bob Arum wanted to marinate it. Then
I'll tell you why, BDA, because. Either Keith Thurman gets beat up or Pacquiao they got to soften up. Whoever it is that fights Spence, they need to be softened up because they don't have that much faith in Spence.
Whoa.
That's why.
Oh, so you think they're thinning the herd for Spence?
Well, they're just scared because they don't know how to build fighters. They don't know how to promote fighters. They don't know what the hell they're doing. So they want to make sure that whoever it is that ends up fighting Errol Spence will have had that one tough fight right before they fight him. That's all I'm saying.
That's interesting.
Because Keith Thurman is about to fall the fuck off, right? Pacquiao's about to fall the fuck off. Let one of them push the other guy off, even if he does win, or vice versa. You know, they're going to beat on each other, and they're going to be that much easier for Spence to beat, basically.
Very good point. Very good point, Precise.
Who in their right mind is going to pay $80 to watch that fight?
Oh yeah, it's pay-per-view. Anyway, listen, we'll talk about it next episode. First of all, I want to thank all of you guys for coming on. I want to thank Stu, Johnny Boy, Corruption, Precise, Apology. Cameron was here. Gonzalo was here earlier as well. Jimmy, thank you guys. Check out Johnny Boy's channel. Check out Corruption in Boxing channel. Check out Precise's channel, Carnival, where he talks about nutrition. And also check out his channel, Fight Film. Now, what? Fuck, I always forget what it is, man. Because he doesn't even talk about it. He doesn't like to. I don't think he likes to publicize it. But anyway, the links are going to be in the description. Gonzalo has a channel too as well. Check out his channel. And I hope I'm not forgetting any other channels. But if I do, I'll confer with Bucho. We'll put him in the description. Stu, you got anything in the pipeline for your videos for
Peace
the BDA
out,
channel?
boys. Peace
All right,
out,
see you.
fellas.
Sorry, bro, I didn't hear that.
Do you have anything in the pipeline for us? Any videos you're going to be making in the near future?
Yeah, I can start doing a couple for you. Why? Are you not going to be around then or something?
No, I am. I'm just curious if you got anything.
Yeah,
ready.
no, yeah, I'm gonna get a couple together for you. Yeah, in the week.
All right, fantastic.
I'll be sending them over to Butcher. Yeah,
Fantastic.
definitely. Got a few topics I want to talk about.
Well, that's great to hear, man. People love those videos. Can't get enough of them.
Yeah.
All right,
Cool.
so thank you guys for being on. Always appreciate having you on board. And I always also appreciate everybody in the chat room. I want to give a shout out. Oh, and Apology. Can't forget Apology. He was also here and he also donated. Shout out to Apology. Don't forget, guys, if you want to support the channel, you can donate via the super chats or in our Patreon and PayPal page. Don't forget, you can download the episodes via iTunes and Spreaker. Don't forget to like, subscribe. I want to thank everybody that was here in the chat room. Hawker Mustang, The Fight Scout, Cachnello, Steven Schneider, Overhand, Amok, Box, Mr. Flacco, Turlock, Nicola Ferrari, The Fight Scout, Robert Timms, the Boxing Spectrum, aka Gonzalo was there too, Virtuoso, Zapata Boxing was in there as well, Hawker Mustang. Who else am I missing? Revolucion was there as well, Black Lomachenko, Michael Stott, Steven Schneider, BFTB Boxing, Triple JJ, Sherpa de Sons, and also Pete was in the chat room as well. Daxter Music. I want to give a shout out to everybody that puts the timestamps in the comment section of every episode. You guys save us a lot of time, and you're able to pinpoint the fun parts of the show. So keep doing it, guys. We're helping each other out here in the community, spreading the message. So that's about it. We'll be back with another episode. We are resurrecting Second Renaissance, the channel we have where we talk about non-boxing stuff. And I think the next one, we're trying to figure out if we're going to come up with a subject for it or if we're just going to shoot the shit and see what happens. Oh, I cursed. Shouldn't have done that. So we'll get back on that. Second Renaissance. Don't forget to subscribe to it. Second Renaissance. The link is if you go to the channels on BDA Boxing, you can find that there. So thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for being on. Thanks for listening. And we'll see you on the next episode. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend you.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I kiss you on the mouth.
No, I'm not cool with that. I'm sorry.
One more time.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I mean, I'm dealing with degenerate animals.
I'm disappointed in every one of you. Disappointed in every one of you.
All right, come on.
Honestly, I can't do it no more.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
Let me tell you why.
It's gonna be alright, Nicky. Go ahead. Shoot.
You just killed a fucking man.
What are you going to do about it, asshole?
Don't be afraid. It's just an asshole.
What are you going to do about it, asshole? What are you going to do about it, asshole?